welcome, Elaine, to another Art of Letting Go session. Good to see you again. So let's jump straight into our teaching for today. There's, as usual, a quote and some related teaching, which will lead us nicely into our lesson. And then we've got some text. There's a short text section today, so perhaps we could finish the section we did last night if you want. So we had about 6 paragraphs to go. So let's see how we go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. If you can read that quote, headline quote for us.
What condemnation could possibly be more harsh than one's own, when self-pretense is no longer possible?
Quite a thought-provoking quote, actually, which is why I chose it. What condemnation could possibly be more harsh than one's own? When self-pretense is no longer possible. So when you're not kidding yourself anymore, you're not lying to yourself anymore. You realize that actually I'm condemning myself. Richard Matheson is an American author and screenwriter, talks about realizing that the harshest condemnation is your own. When you're truly honest with yourself and drop the self-pretenses of the ego, which will tell you that you can condemn another person without condemning yourself. The ego says, condemn others, you get rid of your guilt. And you are not condemned, you somehow escape. The Holy Spirit says, no, if you condemn, then you are condemned, because who in the moment of condemnation is experiencing the energy of condemnation? You are. It should be self-evident, shouldn't it? You condemn anyone who feels that condemnation. You do. Immediately in your mind, in your thoughts, in your emotions. So you are experiencing a state then that is not loving, peaceful, kind, happy, joyful. You are condemning yourself to a negative state that is not happy, loving, peaceful, kind, and joyful. It's actually quite unpleasant in that moment. You see, that's why all condemnation and attack is really an attack on yourself.
Yeah.
You experience a sequence of negative thoughts and emotions as a result of that condemnation, starting with resentment and anger, often followed closely by guilt, shame, feelings of unworthiness, depression, anxiety. All of that comes from condemnation. Not all at once necessarily, but it will come. To name just a few of the cascade of false thoughts and feelings that arise whenever you condemn anyone or anything. Even, condemning something inanimate. I just, hate this place. People do it all the time, don't they? Hate this place. Can't stand. Hate that TV program. Hate this. Hate that.
Yes.
It's condemnation, isn't it? It's an energy of attack and condemnation, which you experience every time you do that. So what you're really doing is saying, I'm hating myself. My true self, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love, is now being denied every time I say that. And I'm attacking myself every time I say that. It seems like I'm attacking someone or something else, but actually I'm attacking that awareness in that moment. It's so obvious, isn't it? You think, why is this not obvious to everyone? Because it's changing my state immediately. So it should be self-evident whenever you condemn anyone or anything, you're really condemning yourself to experience of the awful consequences of this cascade of negativity, because which you have initiated through your own thought and your own feelings. But awareness or vigilance is necessary in this world, because it's so easy to forget the simple truth when the ego presents you with opportunities to project your own deep-seated guilt onto others by condemning them, and tries to convince you that this will alleviate your guilt by giving it to them so that God will punish them and not you. That's the insane logic. So have a look at it maybe in this diagram. And the ego says, okay, you're an individual, you really have separated, so you are guilty of destroying love. Now you have this deep-seated guilt, which you've buried in your mind for that, and you want to get rid of it. So the way to get rid of it is to offload it onto someone else, blame someone else. That's what blame is. Accusation, attack, blame, complaint, any of these projections onto someone else is a projection of guilt. Because the ego is saying, well, this isn't comfortable, I don't want this, so okay, someone else can have it. So they will now, the ego tells you, they will now be the ones who will suffer and die because of their sin. Because we have this, fearful, wrathful, vengeful God in mind that's going to punish us now for our sins. So now God is going to punish them. If they are the evil sinners, they're the ones who are going to be punished. I'm off the hook. Because it's them, they're the guilty ones. And that's what's been going on for thousands of years in human history. Everyone's projecting their guilt onto someone else, rather than saying, hang on, let me just look at that. Really, really look with the eyes of the Holy Spirit, and you see that the guilt isn't real. You don't have to project what's not real, you just have to let it go. Because you never were guilty, you never did separate. You see the huge difference between those thought systems. One says guilt and sin is real, and now your strategy for dealing with it is to get rid of it by projecting onto someone else in the form of accusation, blame, complaint, attack, and so on, which is why we have a world that is, a lot of that stuff goes on, because that's what the ego is always trying to get people to do. Holy Spirit says, just go to first principles. Look at the guilt and the sin. Is there really a reason for this? Is there a cause for your sin? Are you really sinful? Did you really destroy God or love or oneness? And then the answer is no, you didn't. So then how can you be guilty? How can you be guilty for something you didn't do? You see the logic. And in that realization, you accept God, love, oneness, pure formless awareness back into your mind. Because, well, I never destroyed it, so it's still there. So what am I guilty for? Nothing. There's no sin, there's no guilt required, because it's there and I can experience it right now. In this holy instant, as Yeshua calls it, I can experience it. So what am I guilty for? I'm not guilty. Therefore, I don't have to project it out. Therefore, I don't have to fear punishment for my imagined sin, because I never sinned. I never did anything. So why do I need to be punished? And then this fearful, wrathful, vengeful God concept just collapses. Calls it an idol of stone. This is God of stone. Seemingly fearful, with fire blazing from its eyes and blood from its lips. And he goes into graphic detail in one of the lessons. He's saying it's actually made of stone. In other words, it's lifeless. It has no real life behind it. It has no truth. It's a false self-concept projected out. And to the ego, very useful, because it's the mechanism then in your mind of punishment of yourself and others. But to the Holy Spirit, it has no use whatsoever. This is just completely false and illusory. We made it all up. Does that make sense? We've looked at this diagram before, but worth looking at again, I think, because in this context of guilt and sin, it's illustrative. And realizing in moments where you're not being tempted, to be vigilant. So I do spiritual practice. So you practice when you're not being tempted to project guilt, so that when you are, you're in a better state of mind. You're at a higher level to deal with it. So the ego will present you with opportunities to project your own deep-seated guilt onto others by condemning them. And it tries to convince you that this will alleviate your guilt by giving it to them, so that God will punish them and not you. And when that happens, in the moment, one has to wake up and go, hang on, this is completely false. Why am I condemning this person? Why am I angry at all with them? Because it's not about them. It's about me. This is my own guilt. This is a guilt attack going on here. And it seems to be outside of me, and they've done something that justifies it, but actually it's just the ego trying to assert that sin and guilt are real, get me to believe in them. So one has to keep in mind that all of it's completely false. So read this paragraph, Elaine. Awareness or vigilance is required.
But awareness or vigilance is required in this world, because it's so easy to forget this simple truth when the ego presents you with opportunities to project your own deep-seated guilt onto others by condemning them, and tries to convince you that this will alleviate your guilt by giving it to them, so that God will punish them and not you.
So just that last bit on how this mechanism of projection of guilt works, does that make any sense?
Yeah. I can see how it happens. Yeah, it doesn't make sense,
but it's insane. You can see the ego is just crazy. How can you get rid of your guilt by projecting it onto someone else? And apparently you're giving it away, but you're not really, because in the moment you're experiencing it. You're experiencing the sin and the guilt when you condemn it. You're experiencing your own sin and guilt. So it actually perpetuates them. It doesn't get rid of them. The more you project and condemn others, the more you experience the guilt yourself. So you're condemning yourself to this hellish reality based on sin and guilt whenever you try and project it. The ego says, well, keep going, keep doing this, because this is going to work. Holy Spirit says, no, this is definitely not going to work. You're just going to be miserable and unhappy, and feel separated and alone, and you don't really want that. So stop condemning and attacking others. And that stops the food, stops this feeding of the ego when you do that, because the ego gets fed by the projections of guilt, and it needs you to project guilt in order to keep, to maintain it. So you see that it's really impossible to get rid of your guilt by giving, or in Course in Miracles terminology, projecting it onto another person or thing. This is what condemnation really entails. You can't really do it. The more you give guilt to another person, the more guilty you'll feel, because you can't give what you don't have. If you keep giving something, what are you saying? I've got lots of it to give. So you actually reinforce it. You don't let it go. If you keep giving or projecting guilt in the form of condemnation, you're continually reinforcing the illusion that you have plenty of it to give. And it's also worth reminding yourself that no one can be guilty in truth, because nothing they seem to do in a dream is real. So they never really separate from God. or pure formless awareness of perfect love, and therefore cannot be guilty and deserving of punishment for a crime they didn't commit. Everyone is really perfectly whole and complete in their true selfhood as pure formless awareness of perfect love. We can't be guilty because we can't destroy love. It's not possible. So if you read that from the top, can you see it's really impossible? Just read those two paragraphs. And then
do you mean where it's bolded? Where you've got it bolded? Or you mean, can you see? You mean, oh, yes.
Can you see?
Can you see that it's really impossible to get rid of your guilt by giving, or in ACIM terminology, projecting it onto another person or thing, which is what condemnation really entails. The more you give guilt to another person, the more guilt you will feel, because you can't give what you don't have. So if you keep giving or projecting guilt in the form of condemnation, you are continually reinforcing the illusion that you have plenty of it to give. And it's also worth reminding yourself that no one can be guilty in truth, because nothing that they seem to do in a dream is real. So they never really separated from God or pure formless awareness of perfect love, and therefore cannot be guilty and deserving of punishment for a crime they did not commit. Everyone is really perfectly whole and complete in their true selfhood as pure formless awareness of perfect love.
So if you read that and just reflect on it for a few moments, how does that, does that make sense? How does that feel? Just ponder the logic of what I've said there.
What does make sense? We know that if we project or throw our guilt onto someone else, it just boomerangs back and you feel worse. Seen it in action, we all have. Yeah.
So it should be a self-evident truth, but most people, I would say, are not aware of this, and they keep doing it because the ego is very insistent. It's telling them this uncomfortable feeling that you feel that you don't like, you can get rid of it by projecting onto someone else. That's what it tells you. And so they just do it without recognizing the consequences of it. So they'll criticize, they'll condemn, they'll judge, they'll project, they maybe even physically attack, verbally attack, physically attack at the extreme, which leads to violence, death, murder. It all comes from the same mechanism. Whether you're just criticizing someone verbally or you're actually physically acting it out and killing them, it's the same thing. This is what he's saying. He's saying it's murder. What you're trying to do is kill that person because you think that they deserve to be punished and they deserve to die rather than you. And that's what is really behind all attack thoughts. Anything that's attacking, that's hurting someone else, is this projection of trying to project guilt, or the apparent crime of separating and destroying love. And so now we're saying that they are guilty. It doesn't make any sense when you really look at it rationally, but the ego is going to try and do everything it can to prevent you from looking at it rationally. Once you get caught up in the emotion, because emotion isn't rational, it's like get caught up in the emotion of it and then just do it, and the emotion takes over. And we've seen that happen in our personal lives. You've seen people behaving in an irrational, egoic way. And in human history, we've seen it many, many times. All the pain and suffering and hurt that people inflict one on another is due to this mechanism. You wouldn't want to condemn or hurt or kill anyone if you understand they're completely innocent, would you?
Yeah.
Only if you think they're guilty and you think you're guilty, but all of that's buried and you just have this feeling, this impulse to attack. It's not logical, but you just feel like that's what I've got to do. And if you don't have the mind training to stop it, then that's what the ego will cause you to do. When I was awakening, I was absolutely shocked at what came up. It's like, oh my God, that's horrific. These thoughts, these impulses, attack thoughts, wanting to hurt, wanting to kill, was like, I had no idea that was there. I thought I was reasonably sane. But then when that comes up, because I got triggered enough, that the triggers were just gave rise to what was already there in the subconscious. And then when it actually comes into conscious awareness as a thought, it's like, oh my God, like that's shocking. That's horrific. Like I actually, have a thought of wanting to hurt someone or kill someone. It's shocking, really, but we've all done it, haven't we? We've all done it, if you're honest. And this is the ego. The ego is a murderer. And Yeshua's saying this to us. He's saying, you really, you can't tolerate this. Oh, well, a little bit of murder, that's okay. No, it's like, you've really got to look at it and go, no, that has got to go. That thought system has got to go from my mind. Whatever it takes, that's got to leave, because that is not acceptable.
Yeah.
That means that I've got to deconstruct my separate self. That's what that means. For that urge to attack and hurt and kill to go, I have to let go of my separate self. That's the only way. So I have to die. The little self has to die in order for that to happen, which is why people find it so hard to really let go of, attack thoughts and condemnation, because you have to go. What you thought was you has to disappear for that energy or that thought system to die. But Yeshu is saying, well, it's the only way. There's no other way to truly let go of, condemnation and attack and all the hurt and the pain that it causes you and others. And in human history, look at what human beings have done to each other. It's appalling. Murder, killing, wars, slaughtering each other. I mean, it's like, this is what's happened over thousands of years. Still happening today, right now on the planet. Someone's murdering someone else right now, probably. Happening all the time. And so you have to really see, and this is what he's helping us to do with the Course, just how shocking the ego is. This is not a thought system you can kind of sugarcoat and go, oh, well, a little bit of ego is okay. We need some ego to manage our lives, it's all okay. No, this is a murderer. This is insane. This is a killer. It wants to kill whoever. So, if you're possessed by it, you want to kill others, and then it's going to turn around and kill you, because that's what it does. It's a death wish. Is this acceptable? Is this something you want in your mind, in your life? Or are you willing to say, yeah, enough's enough. Like, it's got to go.
Bless you.
He's on the truth of that. So just ponder that for a bit. That logic. I'll leave you for 30 seconds. I'm just going to go and turn on the lights.
Yeah.
And go to the toilet quickly. All right. So any thoughts on that?
Well, it's been well explained, about the guilt and the projecting and how it's a mirror, and and of course the ego itself with its murderous intentions, which we all have in us, while the ego's there. So
you've got to realize what it is.
Yeah.
That's what he's training us with this course to do. It's like, okay, you really got to look at this, and there's no sugarcoating it. He's not trying to, oh well, it's acceptable, it's okay. Have a little bit of murder, that's all right, no problem with that. No, that's got to go. And I found it incredibly shocking when that was revealed, that was always in me, but I didn't know it. I hadn't been pushed enough for that to come out. But when I really got triggered,
everybody's got it in there. Yeah.
The triggering was exactly what I needed, although it was really difficult. And it was a time in my life that I found incredibly difficult, and painful. But through that, I came face to face with my own ego. I realized the awful insanity of it, and that's when I really started learning the course. Like before that, it was all on the surface levels, like these concepts and these ideas. But when you get down to that level, you go, whoa, I'm facing this, vicious, ugly monster, and it's in me. That's when you start to awaken. That's the dark night of the soul.
This is why people like to watch murder films and horror films, because they've got this in them, because they're very popular, aren't they? Horror, or is that just entertainment? I know.
Well, why would you be entertained by murder? I mean, this is the question.
Some people find it relaxing.
Violence, killing. The people I'm staying with, they watch a lot of TV. It's like it's just mostly violence, attacking. These movies, and you're like, why would you want to watch that? Murder. People are dying. People are getting hurt.
Quite nasty ones as well. Torturous murder as well. It's not just straight shotgun. You're talking.
Yeah, torture. I mean, they
like to watch torture.
Are graphic. So why would you want to watch that? Is that entertaining? Watching people suffer and die?
Yeah, because my sister recommended. Yeah, my sister recommended a film. Can't remember what it was. Oh man, or something, or Nick, or something, or whatever. I couldn't believe it. I thought, this is so violent, and I thought, my goodness, my sister got great joy out of it. I couldn't watch it for another 10 minutes, and I'd had enough.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting. It's many people like these. In fact, your own family.
It's this kind of insanity is considered normal. Oh well, I'm just watching people chop each other up and murder people and kill each other, and it's like it's all okay. So it's like, this is entertainment. Yeah, we go into the movie and we watched 100 people die, and it's all okay. I remember when I was still fast asleep. I was a teenager. I used to, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and be like the body count. 100 of people are dying. I know it's cool, man. You go watch these movies, and then at a point I was like, really? Like, what am I doing? Like, why do I want to go watch that? Do I really want to see violence and death and people killing each other? Something in me started to sort of wake up a bit and go, no, that just doesn't feel right anymore. Something, and then it's sort of, because it's all seemingly like it's okay because it's just a movie, but what it's displaying is this thought system of pain, suffering, attack, hurting others, killing. I mean, is that really what you think is entertaining? Only an insane mind could think that, really, if you're honest about it.
But there's many people who are what I would call intelligent people who've done well at their education and well in
yeah, they watch
business.
this stuff.
Like my family. My mother used to love all those Martina Cole and all of the murder ones. Stephen King.
But they're insane. They're all insane because they're addicted to this thought system of condemnation, attack, violence, death. And you find this entertaining. This is insane. This is not, sanity. It's insanity. This is what Yeshua is telling us.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We live in a crazy society, so it seems to be normal.
It does, yeah.
Craziness, the mass media and the entertainment industry. It's all, well, yeah, of course, we produce these violent movies and that's all okay. It's like, is it really? It gets people to watch. I mean, what they're interested in is selling the movie, aren't they? So like, well, the more people watch, the more money we make. That's good. But the effect it has on the mind is not considered. Okay, so you're watching all this stuff. Like, what effect's that really having on your mind subconsciously? And then you go to sleep on that. You watch this violent movie, and then
but there's many. But very
go to sleep.
Popular.
Oh my goodness! So what's that done to your subconscious?
It's very popular though, these things. And even my
because
sisters
we live in an insane world because people are insane. And so, what's popular in an insane world is insanity.
Is it what Eckhart Tolle says, the pain body? We're attracted to the pain body. He uses this expression, pain body.
Well, that's the pain body is just another term for the ego. Or the separate self. It gets fueled by anything that separates it. So violence, attack, death, murder, sickness, and this is drama. No one wants to watch people just sitting, meditating, being peaceful and happy because there's no story, there's no drama, there's no action. We want. However, having said that, the good movies, the ones based on the hero's journey, show an awakening. They show a character development. They show the person going through trials and tribulations and learning something, like a deeper spiritual message is always in these movies. Yeah. It's actually helping us to awaken. So some of them, like a Star Wars, Matrix, they have violence in them, but it's not just gratuitous violence. You know what I mean? It's not just
for the sake of it. Yeah.
For the sake of it. It's like, let's just, because some of these, a poor movie is just a thin storyline, violence, action, and there's not really any character development. It's not a hero's journey. Maybe there's all the stories, and maybe there's a revenge theme. One guy's taking revenge on another. It's like it's shallow. It doesn't have the depth of but actually, it's really about the character's development and their growth. They've got to go through the trials and the tribulations, and sometimes that involves violence, but it's not just for the sake of it. There's a much more intelligent message, and sometimes they frame it in that, like the Matrix, Star Wars. If there was no action, very few people would have watched it. It has to kind of be blockbuster, fighting, because that's going to get people to watch it, so that the deeper message can get communicated. And now that's intelligent filmmaking. But actually there's this deeper message that's running through the movie for those who have the eyes to see. They'll see it. And then that movie you can learn something from. And you overlook the violence. Is just that's this is part of the illusion. I'm not actually getting off on that or enjoying it. It's just actually what's most interesting is the story, and it's the dynamic of the hero's journey, and it's the movement from the dark to the light, and you see that developing, and that's what really grips us, and that's why those movies have been way more successful than any others that are on a lower level. because they speak to people on a deeper level. And even if they don't fully understand why, they'll go, I'll watch the movie and it speaks to me on another level. It's not just, just gratuitous violence for the sake of it. There's a story, and it speaks to me as my own hero, my own true self wants to awaken. I get inspired by that. Something speaks to me in the story. And those are the great movies that we can learn from. So if you ponder all of this, perhaps you fully realize, for the first time, that condemnation of any kind is completely insane. So you need to let go of your belief in and practice of it entirely to be sane. You can't condemn anyone or anything if you're going to be sane. One thought of condemnation is a thought of attack, death, murder. It makes the entire ego's thought system real. Splits your mind. Now you have this other insane voice and self going on in you. So it has to be let go of entirely, which means your separate self has to be let go of entirely. So you have to die. The separate self, the ego, has to die so that you can become truly harmless and that you don't attack and murder anyone else. Which is why it's difficult for people to do. So no, I want to preserve my separate self, but I don't like the guilt. So the ego says, well, then project it. You can keep your separate self, project the guilt onto someone else, and we've got a solution. As condemnation and attack. But that causes so much pain and hurt and suffering to everyone, to yourself and to others, that you have to say, no, that's enough now. Enough is enough of this madness. The only way out of it is to collapse my separate self. I cease to exist as human, as a separate, anything separate from source. That's the only way I can be truly harmless and truly safe. You see, it goes together. If I'm harmless in my own mind, then I'm truly safe. But if I harm and I condemn, then I can never feel truly safe, because the right I have, I've given myself, the right to attack and condemn and harm others, I know can be used against me. So I can never be truly at peace, because there's always this fear, well, something's going to come and get me. Okay, so any thoughts on that?
No, very good.
Powerful lesson.
Yeah.
Which really is, you could almost say this is where the rubber meets the road of the course. Can you let go of all of your attack thoughts and your urge to condemn? Because if you can, then that's a symptom that you're enlightened. And if you can't, then there's still work to do. All of them have to go, because they all come from the separate self-concept that's seeking to project its guilt and maintain its identity.
Well, most of the time I can. But occasionally the odd little slip comes in. Special relationship.
Yeah. Those especially trigger you.
Yeah, that's the ones, yeah.
But then it's good. You go, okay, but hang on, there's still attack going on there. I'm still thinking attack thoughts. So I still, on some level, believe in this insane thought system there. I'm still thinking that condemnation and attack will somehow work, because I'm thinking it. I'm thinking this is a solution. Attack the other person.
Yeah.
So it's useful, because then I see, well, there's still insanity in my mind, and I have to let it go. Still more work to do. So that's the value of a seemingly, difficult or toxic special relationship that triggers you. It's like, well, it's showing you that your own mind is not healed. There's more work to do. When you can engage with that person, no matter what they're doing, in a way that is completely calm, peaceful, unmoved, really unshakable, then you know you've got the answer. Then you've attained that unshakable peace of God that surpasses all understanding, as it's called in the Bible. Yeah, so welcome it. The special relationship triggers you. Instead of going, oh, this is terrible, this is bad. No, it's okay, because it's showing me what I need to change. How I can improve and what I still need to let go of. So then it's a success. If I've noticed it, number one, I'm aware of it, and then I make the choice to let it go, that's a success, not a failure. And I've undone another part of this insane thought system of guilt, sin, fear, and attack in that moment. It might not happen straight away, so I might have had the attack thought to start with, but then I correct it. Okay, well, that's all right, because at least you're aware of it, you corrected it. You stopped yourself. Some people dwell in those thoughts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, various insane behavior result, which accounts for, the crimes, the attack, the murder, the wars, all of the insanity that goes on. It's because people are dwelling in those thoughts and emotions, and then they act it out. All right, so let's have a look at today's lesson, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're doing what are we, 218. All right, so on to lesson 218. Hang on, let me just record. So you can read it from the top. There's the picture. I thought that was a nice attack. And you can see the guy just energetically going, whoa, like her whole body is just screaming attack.
Yeah.
And it's like, he automatically puts up his hands and it's like, whoa, like I've got to defend against this energy, because it's and you see her posture, like, forward. Yeah, it's a great picture demonstrating, that energy of attack and condemnation. Which you want to stop. You want to be in enough awareness to say no. If I feel that, I don't have to act it out, because as soon as you act it out and you physically act on it, you speak on it, then it becomes real. This is why the ego loves anger. It's like, okay, well, now it's by your words, by your actions, this thought system has been made real. Yeah, so I'm not a body, I'm free. And read that.
Yeah, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Or I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as perfect love extends me.
Any thoughts on that one?
No, it's clear.
Yeah, very powerful statement. I'm not a body. I am free. I'm free of the body. I'm free of body awareness. And I'm still as this perfect love extends me. God created me, perfect love extends me right now. That's the key. That's why it's present tense. This perfect love is in my mind right now, extending me right now. And that's never not been the case. I would have no awareness, I would have no life if perfect love didn't extend me. It's the source of my awareness, it's the source of my life. It extends me always and forever, right now. My mind has obscured that, so I'm not aware that it's extending me, but I can remember. This is exactly what these lessons help us do. I can remember that extension and merge again, reunite with this perfect love that extends me. Okay, and then only my condemnation injures me.
Only my condemnation injures me. Do you want me to read the next?
Yeah, read in the original, the alternative.
My condemnation keeps my vision dark, and through my sightless eyes I cannot see the vision of my glory. Yet today I can behold this glory and be glad. Or, my condemnation keeps my vision limited, and through my blinkered perception I cannot perceive my magnificence. Yet today I can experience this magnificence and be glad.
So condemnation just denies the glory, as he calls it. I've translated as magnificence. But actually, I am perfect love. I am an extension of perfect love. I live in that light. It's happy, it's peaceful, it's joyful, it's expansive. Feels magnificent, as opposed to dark, limited, contracted thoughts of attack, murder, death. You can't reconcile these. They're completely opposite thoughts, energies. I can experience this magnificence and be glad. Right now, I can experience that in the moment. Don't have to wait, because the perfect love extends me. It's right now. I experience it right now. Okay, and then just to wrap it up with the final part of the sandwich, which is the key phrase again, key sentence.
I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as perfect love extends me.
So these are pointers. He's pointing us into a state where we can just feel that. That's why it's short, sweet, to the point. Just use the words to take you into an experience. An experience of perfect love. Okay, so any thoughts on that lesson?
It's very clear.
It's a good one. It's these lessons, a lot of people don't like them, the condemnation, talking about attack and so on. But they're some of the most powerful lessons, because he's really highlighting this insanity of the ego and helping us to see it in ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the only way we're going to stop doing it. And he's saying, look, you're hitting your head against a brick wall here. It seems to be done to you by something or someone else, and then you condemn them. But actually, you're just doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
So I can't really help you if you don't listen. You say, help me, Jesus, and then you keep hitting your head against the wall. He's saying that you got to stop. Stop hitting your head against the wall. That's essentially what he's saying in this particular lesson. Because you keep hitting your head against the wall, you are going to get hurt. It's inevitable. I can't stop that. You know, the laws you set in motion, when you do that, banging the head against the wall spiritually is condemning someone or something else. You're banging your head against the wall and you're hurting yourself. And you think that you're hurting the wall, but you're not. You're just hurting yourself. And you wonder why you're suffering and you're bleeding and you cut. It's like, Jesus, please help me. Why is all this bad stuff happening to me? And he's like, well, you're doing it to yourself. Stop. Stop the insanity. Which is exactly what these lessons are about. It's like, okay, hang on, I've got to really recognize what I'm doing. And come to, some kind of sanity and stop it, because it's not helpful for me or anyone. It hurts. Condemnation hurts. And we've all had people who've criticized and condemned us. It hurts, doesn't it, when you believe it?
Oh, yes.
So if you do that to anyone, you're trying to hurt them. Well, why would you want to do that to the Holy Son of God? Ego says, well, it's revenge. They did this to you, so you're going to get them back. But how can hurt and pain and suffering and death ever bring love and peace and joy and happiness? They can't. They have a different order of reality, aren't they? How can that energy ever lead to anything good? So your condemnation cannot lead to anything good ever. So stop it. Let it go. And if you don't condemn anyone, then you must be guiltless, innocent yourself, because you've let go of the idea of guilt, which is what causes you to project the condemnation out. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So any other thoughts on that?
No, that's clear.
We'll do a meditation on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so just making yourself comfortable and your favorite meditation posture. So sitting with feet shoulder width apart, your back straight, sitting on a chair, cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. You're breathing in, and noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And pause at the top of the inhale. Connect with your breath. You smile. Maximal inhale breath. Scan your mind. Notice thoughts, emotions, related body sensations. Looking at anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way, shape or form. And let it go. Exhale, breathe it out. Remind yourself that I'm not a body, I'm free. I'm still as perfect love extends me. As you exhale, blowing out the darkness. Imagine it's leaving you like a dark black smoke out of your mouth, out of your body, out of your energy system. And this perfect love that extends you is extending through you. Extending in and through you. Blow it all out. Just rest here in the peace that comes from the truth. Remind yourself that only my condemnation injures me. Only my condemnation injures me. Only my letting go sets me free. Because I'm not a body. I'm free. Still as perfect love extends me. Condemnation keeps my vision limited. Through my blinkered perception, I cannot perceive my magnificence. I cannot see my true self. Yet today, I can experience this magnificence and be glad. And so it is. Experience peace, joy, happiness, gladness. Sink into that experience, breathe it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the gladness, in the happiness. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. You just breathe, relax, be still. And surrender. Fully into the gladness. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Breathe in and out through your nose. Observe the breath, and each breath sink into the gladness and the magnificence of your being. Experience this magnificence and be glad. Be happy. Feel the joy. Just sinking inward, and deeper and deeper with each breath into this magnificent self that you truly are. So just gently coming back into an awareness of the body and the breath, senses in the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale, scan your mind. Noticing thoughts, emotions, related body sensations, anything that's at all negative, limiting, contracted, constricting, just observe it and I'm going to let it go. Remind yourself I'm not a body, free. I am still, I remain, and I am still. I'm at peace. As God created me, or as perfect love extends me right now, feel that source extending you. Exhale, just extend. Notice on the count of 2 how the air flows out. Stomach and the chest suck back in. Energy raised up, subsides back down the front channel of your body. Going to rest in your lower stomach and your groin. Feel the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground, noticing what you're feeling with your hands touching. Maybe there's a subtle flow of air in your skin, taste in your mouth perhaps. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. And just noticing all these things from this very still, calm and surrendered state of mind, state of mind without illusions. Only the truth is true. And just anchor that state in, set the intention to stay here. You need to top yourself up with a lesson, remind yourself that I'm not a body, I'm free. I'm still as perfect love extends me. And if there's anything negative you're thinking, that remind yourself that only my condemnation injures me. Only my own condemnation injures me. I'm hurting myself, really, whenever I condemn anyone or anything. And so it is. And so now on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just open your eyes, look around. Just take a minute to ground yourself back into this reality. Noticing the objects in the room around you. Look at anyone in particular for a few moments and There's the awareness, deeper sense of awareness is there. Sense of peace, awareness. Love, joy, still there, underlying a perception of it, anything. And look around at something else, notice that same awareness. Notice it's there when you close your eyes, notice it's there when you open your eyes. Teaching your mind that this awareness, which is your own true awareness, this is God, pure formless awareness of perfect love, is always there. Can never lose it because it's always there. It's your fundamental awareness, without which you would cease to exist. Because it's eternal, it's not possible it ceases to exist. It has always been and always will be there for you. So just enjoy that, enjoy the magnificence of it, appreciate it, and be glad, as the lesson says. Today I can experience this magnificence and be glad. So that brings us to the end of the meditation, in the first part of the session. So we go on to the text reading for today. It's 3 paragraphs. So I suggest we do that first and see how we go. If you want to do more, we can go back to the last section. How's that sound, Elaine? Elaine, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had to just go and sort something out with Dave there.
Okay. So shall we do the text then?
Yes, yeah.
I suggest we just do today's 2 paragraphs, and then if you want to do more, we can go and look at yesterday's last 6. But if we do those, then we might not get today's done, which would be a shame. So,
Okay.
So this.
Can I just get a drink of water because I'm a bit parched? I'll just go and quickly get a drink of water. I'll just be
Fine. Yeah. So you do that. I'll just introduce this. So this one is called The Appointed Friend, section 6 of chapter 26. We're on to one of the shortest sections. It's only 3 paragraphs, but 3 profound paragraphs talking about the appointed friend, which is the Holy Spirit, or the remembrance of perfect love, as we translate it. So let's see what Yeshua has to say about the appointed friend today. Not much to translate, so we can just go straight into alternative.
Yeah. Okay. Anything. Yeah. Anything in this world that I believe is good and valuable and worth striving for can hurt me and will do so. Not because it has the power to hurt, but because I have denied its only illusion and made it real. And then it is real to me. And it is not nothing. And through its perceived reality, the whole world of sick illusions has entered. All my belief in sin, in the power of attack, in hurt and harm, in sacrifice and death has then come to me. For no one can make one illusion real and still escape the rest. For who can choose to keep the ones that they prefer and find the safety that the truth alone can give? Who can believe illusions are the same and still maintain that even one is best?
So what's he saying in this one?
Well, we're quite choosy about what we like and don't like in the illusions. But if we maintain what we think are the good ones, then we're far away from the truth.
Oh, so an illusion is an illusion is an illusion. You can believe illusions are all the same. I might need an all there. And still maintain that even one is best. So I have a preference. I say, oh, that illusion, I like that one. That's the best illusion. And by doing that, by separating it out and saying, well, I prefer that one to that one, you make it real, don't you, in your mind? And that's how we bring reality to unreality, through our perception. He's helping us here to see, this is not helpful. It's not helping us to find happiness or peace or awaken.
So, have you an example?
Yeah. Anything in this world that I believe is good, valuable, and worth striving for can hurt me.
So a nice holiday?
And will do so.
A nice holiday, a good career?
Yeah. So you strive for that. You think it's good, it's valuable, it's worth striving for. Nice holiday. What happens when you leave the holiday? Come back and you feel deflated. You really look forward to it. Amazing. Then you get back to work. And now what? You had it. Post-holiday blues. Now what? Because it wasn't permanent. It wasn't eternal.
Family? What about family? Some people.
Special relationships.
Well, yeah. Some are successful and some aren't. Yeah.
You cherish those relationships. Well, even if the relationship is really good, and there's no ego drama, which is unusual, because usually there is.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But even in that case, then the person dies, and then you suffer because you thought that special relationship had value in itself. We've given everything the power to hurt us. That's what he's saying. You value anything in this world. You could take any example. Anything you value, there's going to be a downside, isn't there? Oh, well, that could hurt you because you valued it and you gave it a meaning and an importance. And then because of the nature of all illusions, they're not permanent. So they fade away. It's not going to be there forever. And then you suffer when that form that you valued is not there.
But most people have the, oh, well, let's just live for today, enjoy it while it lasts. That's a good old expression, isn't it? That's a typical expression.
It's like, partying while the Titanic's going down. It's like a fool's paradise, you might say, because, it's a sinking ship. So one has to see, what you're actually in. This construct of a human life, and where we're apparently heading within it is one way. It's to death. And it's just saying you've got to see that. Once you understand that, and you can let go of your attachment, you could have quite a happy dream. I'm not attached to anyone. It's just a dream. I'm just dreaming a dream. May as well make it a happy one. and
Yeah.
flow with life, and but there's no attachment to any of it, and I know it's just a dream, and I know that I can't cling to any of it, I can't hold on to any of it, because that's the nature of the dream, is that everything's transient. It arises and it passes away.
Mhm.
So then I don't suffer. It's like, oh, an experience, it arose, it passed away, okay, and another one comes and it goes. What doesn't change is my awareness. My true awareness through all of that doesn't change. So the more I start to realize that, the more I'm rooted in my true self, in other words, the less I suffer. Okay, well, stuff happens, things come, things go, things arise, they pass away, and nothing's really changed. I'm still myself. My awareness is still as it is.
Mhm.
Does any of this, shifting, changing stuff really matter if my awareness remains exactly the same? It doesn't really matter, does it? If we've taught ourselves correctly.
No.
But you do that in practice by letting go of what you believe is good, valuable, and worth striving for. It's a hard lesson. So not that hard. Well, something's bad. It's hurt me. It's hurt others. It's evidently bad, not good, hurtful. Okay, I can let go of that. That's obvious. But the ego gives us apparently good stuff. It says, oh, you could have this and you could have that. Oh, and what about this? And what about that? It's got all these illusions, idle wishes that it pops up, and it's tempting you to believe in them. And say, okay, well, give your time, your attention, your energy to the pursuit of that, because this is going to make you happy. This is what it's telling you. You go and strive for this, and then one day you'll be happy when you attain it. That's the illusion. Really, it just perpetuates the illusion that you're not happy. Oh, okay, so I need to do this. I need to get this, do this, accomplish this, whatever, in order to be happy. The illusion is that I'm not that happy now. That's why I need to strive for this. So by striving for it, you actually deny your happiness. This is why the Buddha noticed 2,500 years ago that desire, or craving as he called it, is the source of all suffering. Because it denies your fundamental being. It says, no, you're not that. You're not whole, complete, and perfect. You actually need something. And so, in that desire for anything outside of yourself, you're saying, I'm not okay as I am. And that's why you suffer, because you repeatedly tell yourself, I'm not all right as I am. I need something else outside of me to make me okay. And that's why it hurts us. I've made it real, and then it has the power to hurt me. Because perceived reality, the whole world of sick illusions has entered. So you make one illusion real, well, then you have to accept all of them. Because they're all in the same order, you see, all of reality. So I deny them or accept them as one, because they're in the same order. I accept one illusion, I believe then in the power of attack, in sin, hurt and harm, and sacrifice and death. So that one thing you value, let's say your chocolate eclair the other day, invites sin, attack, hurt, harm, sacrifice, and death into your mind, or into your experience. I'd say that's a pretty expensive chocolate eclair.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
because the price of it is like very high if you understand what the price is.
It's my favorite as well.
Yeah, but look at what it will do to your mind if you value it.
If I value it, but now and again, a little treat is not no harm, is there?
Oh, but
It's a little treat. To be honest, it's about a year, not maybe more. So I wouldn't say that's really addictive, is it?
No, no. It's just an example.
Yeah,
But
I understand.
anything you value,
So,
that would be nice. You see what the mind does. Oh, that'll be nice, and then you start looking forward to it, whatever
yeah,
it
I
is,
know what you mean.
the
Yes,
way the mind
yes,
works.
yeah.
It's valuable. It's worth striving for.
What
This is how
about
the illusion is perpetuated.
sometimes there is some beauty in the world, like watching, a flower growing from seed and seeing somebody's garden evolve, and it's very beautiful. Watching it, Mother Nature when it's at its best, of course, as I appreciate there's the opposite. It will shrivel and die, but
Also,
just
it all
watching.
fades and dies. So, if you attach to the garden, then at some point the garden won't be there for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, well, they keep the neighbours were pruning it, and they've got it beautiful. And I thought, oh, this is a sight for sore eyes. Just watching it, evolve and grow and mature and die. So that's quite a beauty part of life, isn't it? Watching
Well, I
it.
don't know about the dying necessarily.
Well, not the dying, no, but it's sort of
See,
its
that's the
cycle.
problem. But
Yeah.
any cycle, if it's not eternal, you're in a cycle, and things arise and they seem to grow and flourish for a while, and then they die.
And then they go, yeah.
And then they go, and so that's the illusion.
But while it's going through that, spring and summer, it's very attractive. And then in the winter it dies.
What happens in
and
the
then it's
autumn
back
and the
again.
winter? Then what happens in the winter? You see, so
then it dies, yes.
it dies. And so he's saying don't value what is ultimately valueless, because it's not eternal. This cannot satisfy you eternally because it's impermanent.
It is still fascinating, isn't it? Even just watching an embryo grow, whether it's in an animal or a human or whatever. Quite fascinating at how nature has done that.
Yeah,
even though that's
the nature. Remember, so let's get very clear on what you're talking about. We're talking about a consciousness. What's behind what we call Mother Nature? It's universal consciousness. Well, there's a seemingly an intelligent design to this system that's designed all this stuff. So, okay, well, now you've got plants and animals and a whole world, a whole galaxy of form. And many people believe that this is God. So, well, look, there's beauty here. There's something amazing. But of course, it all dies. So how can the eternal die? This is the question. That's the paradox. How, if God created it, how can what is if God is eternal, God is perfect love and eternal love, how then can it have created something that is not eternal and that is not love, that seems to suffer and die?
But you can watch it, just watch it or observe it, but not get attached to it all.
No, that's the only way you'll find the peace of God, it's been called, that surpasses all understanding. It's not a rational understanding. It's not an understanding of this world. It's a peace that transcends it, that looks at the coming and the going and the rising and the subsiding and all the movements and the cycles and the shifts and the changes of this world, and recognizes that they're all illusory. That underneath them lies an awareness that doesn't change, that has never changed, that doesn't change. There's no movement. There's no growing, there's no decaying, there's no shift, there's no change. It just is. It remains eternally in the same state. And if you can stay rooted in this awareness while you perceive whatever's going on here, none of it really affects you. You could see the pure formless awareness in the flower, even when it's dying, because you realize that the form of it is not what it really is. Actually, in truth, it's just the same awareness as you. And its form doesn't matter at all. And the real essence of the flower, the true beauty of it, is that awareness. It's not the form of it. It's a deeper awareness which you can connect with.
But sometimes when it's in its
You're in the
full
right
bloom,
mind.
you know, you've got a beautiful rose there, and the scent and the color of it. It's quite extraordinary to watch.
But it's a show the ego's put on to convince you that it's real. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
Because you go, oh wow, amazing! Look,
Lovely
sense and
scent.
sight. Now all the sensory perceptions, sense and
The
sensations
colors, beautiful
are
colors,
stimulating. Wow, this is amazing. Wow, no,
purples,
amazing. And then of course it fades and it dies because it's not spring forever, and that doesn't last. And then it's like, oh well, okay, so that's over. And now it's summer and all that's gone, and it's a bit kind of mundane. And then we go into autumn and winter, and then all of that dies, and then it's like, you know, dark and cold and wet and a bit miserable because nothing seems to be alive.
True, yes.
And this is not eternal.
Yeah, but you can still enjoy it while it's there, in the happy dream, as it were. As you know, I appreciate they are going to die. Like the Northern Lights. I mean, that's a stunning sight to see, isn't it? You know, the foliage or whatever.
I don't know. I've never seen it, but you know, all of these things are phenomenal.
Oh no, I've seen it only on film. I haven't actually seen it in person, but I've seen it on film, and I can imagine that would be a lovely sight, wouldn't it?
Well, but all of these things, Elaine, are phenomenal existence. It's all illusion. So if you really understand, like you're in a movie, this is just images projected onto the screen in your personal movie. The images come and go, they fade away, and they're not eternal. You start to realize that none of these things, they're all in the same order. You can't really value any of them because they just come and they go. They're temporary images projected onto the screen of time space, and they're so temporary. How can this ever bring you lasting satisfaction?
Oh no, but I'd prefer to sort of view those sort of things rather than these horror movies and all of the rest of that. So I have a choice. Yeah.
And when you look at the flower, if you can see the very essence of that flower, and you can experience that essence in yourself, and a unity with the flower or whatever you're looking at, then you've transcended the dream. It's not just about the flower and the flowers, you know, oh, that's nice, that's pretty nice form. And you're not just focused on that. There's something deeper that you've connected with, and that you're now having an experience that the flowers helped to bring about. A deeper experience of your source, which is actually the only real purpose of anything. That, you know, we can use it to connect with our source.
Yeah.
And merge with the oneness that we truly are. And the flower can be a symbol of that. You know, it blooms, it's the lotus flower, symbol of awakening. Yeah, okay, so the flower can symbolize that, and it can take you into a much deeper state than just, oh, it's a pretty flower and, you know, nice smell, and we'll look at the colors, because that's all sensory, and that's illusion. You see.
I know we've had this discussion about the kittens as well.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea. I appreciate that. It's
same
just
idea.
Reminders. Yeah, just to you always need these reminders. So
no, but the kitten won't be permanent. The kitten is going to grow into a cat, and it's going to have its life, and then at some point it'll die.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's the cycle. But in the moment, in the essence of the kitten, if you're playing with it or whatever, something can be communicated that's deeper than the illusion.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
And if you can stay in that, you can't suffer, because then the spirit of life itself is with you always. And you're not seeing the death, and you're not seeing the decay. It's just like, well, this is just life manifesting itself in and through this creature, entity, you know, whatever it is. But it's the very essence of life that I can experience.
So, for example, people who say, you know, they find horror movies very relaxing, is that essence, they're getting the essence from the murder?
They find horror movies relaxing, and someone told you that.
My mother used to say she finds Martina Cole and all of those relaxing.
Horror movies relaxing.
So that's interesting. So is she in the, yeah, because, that's still an illusion, isn't it? The same as the flower. But yet she
Yeah,
found it
all illusion.
relaxing, unless she was deep down a psychopath, of course, who knows? No, well, a lot of people find it.
What TV does is it just allows people to zone out. So that's why they find it relaxing, because they just go, I can just kind of veg out. I don't have to exercise, any conscious thought here.
Right.
I park myself in front of the box and I just kind of go, oh, I don't have to do anything now. So I can just
vegetate,
let the images and the sounds come, and I can just veg
switch
out
off.
and switch off.
Yeah.
And that's probably why she found it relaxing.
Yeah.
Whether the content itself that was relaxing,
well,
one I suspect that may have had some, disturbing effects on her psyche if you keep watching that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's more about I can just kind of veg out and
switch off. Yeah.
Switch off.
Because my brother-in-law is the same.
TV for.
Yeah, in fact, my whole family seems to have a bit of. They're very partial to all that stuff.
So, well, it's how most people change their state. So instead of saying, well, I'll do a meditation, I'll do some spiritual practice, which requires a bit more effort, I can just plonk myself in front of this, electronic device and just let these images, wash into my mind.
So zone out.
Go mindless, zone out. And just, the problem is, if you're in that state, your subconscious is very receptive to whatever's being, you're basically hypnotizing yourself. You're programming yourself with whatever you're watching. So there's no discernment anymore. You're not going, oh, hang on, I've got some filters here to say, no, that's not what I want, or this is what I choose. You're just like, well, I'm just going to allow whatever's being shown on the screen to come into my consciousness and affect it. And I'm in a very suggestible state. I'm kind of semi-hypnotized, which is why, of course, advertisers know TV works. It sells products because you're kind of in this hypnotic state, and then they flash their, whatever product.
I've heard of that.
And then, it makes an impact. It's like it goes in on some level.
Yeah, no.
That's why it's an attractive advertising.
Sublime,
and like, even though I may not consciously be thinking, well, I want the whatever they're advertising, the detergent or the peanut butter or the the car or whatever. It goes in on some level, and then the next day, or if I keep watching that, sooner or later I go, oh, actually, I'll buy that. I see it in the shops and something is, I'll buy that. And you don't know why you buy it, but you bought it because you've been exposed, you've been subconsciously programmed to buy it. That's what TV advertising does. So it's a lazy mind. It feeds a lazy mind. It's like, well, why do you want to just veg out and be lazy? Why not do something more conscious with your mind? There's many things you could do. You could do conscious meditation, where it's a little bit of just closing your eyes and watching your breath, but it's a little bit of effort. You've got to engage in a little bit more than just I'll veg out and just allow whatever in to do that. Once you start going into deeper meditative states, you prefer it to all the images. It's not really actually that relaxing. I'm guessing your mother never meditated, am I right?
No, she never did. She always stayed clear of spirituality. She just thought it was.
Yeah. So that was her kind of meditation. That's why she said
she was definitely not into any of that stuff at all.
Yeah.
God to her was she was atheist through and through. Yeah.
So that was how she modified her state, and she relaxed at the end of the day. But if she'd known about spiritual practices and she'd done them, then that's a replacement for TV. And it's interesting because you find as people become more spiritual, they tend to watch less and less TV.
Yeah, I don't watch it. No, I don't watch it.
So it's just rubbish. Why do you want to sit there filling your mind with all these images, which you're not in control of? These have been designed by someone and they're now projecting them into your living room or wherever you are. Worse is the bedroom, and people watch just before bed, in bed. I mean, there's these images just projecting themselves at you. You're filling your mind with all of this material that is mostly not helpful. Most of what's on TV is not helpful. There are educational programs. There's some good stuff to watch. You can watch some fine movies, so maybe it has its place, but not sit for hours and hours and just absorb this rubbish. It's a lazy mind. It doesn't foster a mind that's going to awaken. It fosters a mind that is passive, that is submissive, that's just going to accept what is given to it.
A lot of fear.
Because if I'm very attached to these images and I think they're all real, then of course the images can turn. It might be nice sometimes, but fear is never far away.
No.
Then I watch the news, and then it all seems to be very real to me. These images seem to be like, oh my God, what's happening now? The economy's in a mess. Oh, there's a potential nuclear war could develop through the Ukraine. There's COVID. And I believe the images are all real. And that is exactly where powers that be, egoic powers that control as well, they want you to be in that passive, submissive state. Just watch the TV then. Just believe whatever you see, and don't question it.
Yeah.
And say, well, hang on, does this make any sense? Is this true, or do you believe everything they tell you is true?
Yeah.
So it feeds a passive kind of person and society where they don't question authority. Okay, well, I've just got to do what I'm being told because I watch the news every night. And as you start to awaken, you start going, no, this is BS. We're being fed a story by a mind that is not helpful. This is not a positive, life-affirming consciousness. This is largely negative and destructive. So why would I want to expose myself to that as any kind of form of entertainment, or even like, why do I need to know about this? People say, well, you need to be informed. Why do you need to be informed? You really need to know about all this news? You don't. It doesn't affect most of it doesn't affect your life at all. What's happening in the Ukraine has no impact on you whatsoever.
No.
Even, the world's in a recession, the economy's in a recession, local, the country news. So what? That's just a concept. What does that actually matter?
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely not interested.
It just empowers you. Now, it's in a recession, so I need to fear. Oh, actually, it's only a recession if I believe it is. It's all belief. And well, I can generate, if I need more income, I can generate it. It's not a problem. So there's no recession, for entrepreneurs and people who are out of that thinking, there's no recession ever. It's just like, well, we just, we carry on. We create our own reality. So TV it's a mind control tool to engender. Really, like if you look at what it does, it changes mental and emotional states quite profoundly. So it's a way of changing someone's biochemistry, and that is a form of medication. So they are medicating people via the airwaves, via these electronic devices.
Yeah.
Changing your state, changing your biochemistry in ways that are not helpful, really, for your true health and well-being. No, it's not helpful, because you become a passive, really a victim. Remember, the ego's whole thing is a victim. So you believe all these images are real. You start believing you're a victim of the world. Oh, isn't it terrible? Look at what's happened. Oh, how could this affect me? And then you feel fearful, and you feel contracted and limited and small and scared. And you feel like the world's a very big, huge place. You've got no control over it. You're at the effect of this, world that's very scary. And now you have to protect yourself. and engage in all this defensive behavior that just perpetuates your fear and your victimhood. And, this is the matrix. We live in it. We live in the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And, it requires a vigilant mind to awaken. You can't just accept whatever the matrix is going to feed you as reality.
Mm.
You have to choose consciousness. So no, I'm not going to entertain that. I'm not going to accept that. I have a choice about what I allow in to my awareness. I have a choice about what I believe. I have to exercise that power of choice wisely. Otherwise, I end up a victim, and I suffer as victims suffer. That's what that's what victimhood is all about. It's a story of suffering and limitation and lack and loneliness and suffering until you die. That's the ego story, isn't it? Some people might go, well, that's all very depressing.
Mm.
There's some good in it, but yes, you're saying no, recognize there's no good in it. It's all illusion. If you maintain one illusion, you buy into all of it. This is what he's saying in this paragraph. He said it before. You believe in one thing in this false world that seems to perpetuate this thought system of sin and guilt and fear and attack and an identity of victimhood. Then you have to believe in it all, because it's kind of an all or nothing deal. If one of those things is real, then it's all real, you see. So one illusion brings the whole of the illusory world into your reality and makes it real for you. Which is exactly what he's saying here. Then it is real to me. And through its perceived reality, the whole world of sick illusions is entered.
Yeah.
And entered my awareness. Wow. It's pretty shocking, really.
Mm.
So you believe in, one thing you see on the news, or one.
You're trapped.
Yeah, because you believed it, you made it real. Then all of it's real. If one of those images that you see outside of you is real, then they're all real. And the ego knows this, so that's why it's so invested in maintaining people in this illusion and not questioning, not saying, well, hang on, let's just start to consider. Maybe we just, as in Plato's cave allegory, we just prisoners trapped in this cave, and now, you're just being shown these images. If Plato had lived, or Socrates had lived today, they would just update that and say, well, actually, you're sitting in a not in a cave, but in a movie theater, and the images are being projected, and you don't know that behind you there's a projector that's projecting it onto the screen. And it takes an awakening mind to turn around and say, hang on, what's really going on here? These images maybe aren't real, and turn around and go, oh, actually, there's a light. They follow it, and they can see that there's a projector mechanism, and then they leave and they go into the, the box at the top of the movie, and they go, oh, okay, so this is actually what the source of the images are. It's fake.
Mm.
There's a film that's been loaded in here, and it's going across the light, and then this is what's producing the illusion of images on the screen, which I've thought of are reality, but actually they're not. Okay, well, maybe I just leave the cinema entirely and leave behind the images and go into the sunlight, and then I experience the true light. This is a fake light. So that's the updated version of the cave allegory.
Mm.
But think of today's world. Everyone is sitting. Most people, if you're not awakening, you are sitting glued to the images, and you think all images are real.
Mm.
And they literally, in this world, because of all the devices we've got, they stream at you as images. I mean, you're seeing, the so-called real world. is all images. It's just a projection of your own mind. It's all images projected onto the screen of time and space. But now, gone, okay, well, let's create a 2D screen and we'll project images onto this. So as though that wasn't enough, the images in the world aren't enough. The ego's gone, oh, no, we have to create even more images and stick them on two-dimensional screens. And now you're going to sit watching these images as though there weren't enough images to fill your mind with illusions. Now we're going to create even more. All of it's designed to enslave you into the belief that this is real, the world is real, the images are real, therefore you are real. Your separate self is real. That's what it's all about. So it is just saying, well, you've got to see it for what it is and just refuse to be taken in by the deception. Because the deception means that you believe in sin, in attack, in hurt and harm, in sacrifice and death, right? All the negative aspects of the ego come in if you believe in one image, whatever that image may be. If you believe it's real, then you must believe in sin, guilt, fear, attack, and death. Do you see the logic of this thought system? Why it has to be, okay, this is an all or nothing deal. You can't entertain a little bit of this, because one little bit of illusion means you split your mind and you have to then accept the whole illusion. The whole world, as he says, of sick illusions has entered my awareness. All my belief in sin, in the power of attack, in hurt and harm, in sacrifice and death has then come to me. He's saying, is this what you want? If I state the choice so clearly, like this, he knows that we couldn't possibly in our right mind choose that. The only way we could continue to choose it is to deny this. So no, Yeshua doesn't know what he's talking about. This course, no, it's too hardcore for me, too full on, as someone said when I went to Cape Town earlier this year. There was a lady who was sort of interested in the course. No, it's too full on. Okay, so you want to be half on then? But that's exactly what the ego is saying. Oh, well, I'll just have a little bit of it. Yeah, I can read this book a bit, and some of these ideas are nice and they make me feel a bit better. But I'm not really going to apply it and say, okay, like really, let's get to the crux of what he's saying, because that's way too threatening for my ego. Because that makes you realize that the ego isn't real. And then the ego's in big trouble, because there's like, okay, you've actually realized that there's an awareness in you beyond the ego, and you will not die when the ego dies. In fact, you will go back to eternal life and you will live in this awareness forever. And this insane entity, which has caused so much pain and suffering to you and others, will die. It's going to go. And of course, it doesn't want that. So it's going to resist that for all it's worth, because it's its existence as at stake. But he's asking us to journey with him, just to see the logic of this and accept it. Just as he says it, don't try and fudge this and interpret it. And people say, oh, well, that's your interpretation of the course. I mean, there isn't really much room for interpretation. Look at the way he's written it. I mean, it's so clear, so explicit. How do you reinterpret what he's saying here? How would you interpret? One can make one illusion real and still escape the rest. I mean, he's leaving no wiggle room for the ego, isn't he? How do you misinterpret that? Well, who can choose to keep the ones that they prefer and find the safety that the truth alone can give? Who can believe illusions are all the same and still maintain that even one is best? It's so clear, it's so unambiguous, the teaching, which is why it will work, because he's cutting through all the ego's BS and all of those defenses and just going, right, let's get straight to the point here. Let's cut to the chase. If you really want enlightenment, here it is. I'm not going to mince my words. And so it's the only teaching I've found that really is just so direct, so clear, so unambiguous, no sugarcoating, no fluff, just straight to the point. Yeah, okay, I'm telling it like it is. And then it's up to us to accept it or not. And that's why a lot of people get turned off by the Course. Because it's like, well, this is the end. It's the end of the ego. It's game over. If I really learn this, that's it. End of me, separate self, gone. Oh no, and I want a spirituality that sort of has a bit more wiggle room than that. That allows me still to be a separate self, and sugarcoats the illusion a bit and says, well, but it's body, mind, and spirit, and the ego has a place, and da 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 da. And of course, it's never going to work. You're never going to wake up that way. You're never going to escape the dream. You'll just come back. If you die with that belief system, you come back. You come back into another life. You're born. You go through the whole drama of the human experience. You age, you suffer, you die, and you do it again and again and again until you're ready to accept this truth. Which isn't that hard, actually. He's stating it so clearly here. The only question is, can you accept it fully? Say, okay, I accept fully what he is saying here. Right? This is the truth. There's no other truth. I reject all other ideas because those are just false. And so I accept it and I live my life this way. I live out the rest of my life in this it's a way where I let go of everything. There's no desire for anything in this world anymore. I'm not thinking it's good and valuable and worth striving for.
You have to be careful, though, not to be too indifferent, because that could lead to depression. You've got to be careful. If you know what I mean. If you're indifferent and not well, I don't care about this, don't care about that, then life would be meaningless.
Yeah, but this life would be meaningless. That's the whole point. This life would be meaningless. But actually your true life, eternal life, comes more and more into your awareness. This is why the mystics, they detach from the world. They go, this is all meaningless. I have no interest anymore in the images.
Yeah.
I just remain rooted in my deepest awareness. I'm connected with my true self, my source, and I remain in that state. And that's called samadhi. When you're in that state, so I'm just one with my source. And the images have no meaning or interest to me anymore. Because this experience of my true being is so blissful and so perfect and whole and complete that I realize the images just can't, they just can't compete with that. They're fake, false, illusory, and they offer me nothing compared with this depth of my being. And so they start withdrawing more and more from the world. So it's not depressing, but they stay in joy. These are people who can actually live in a permanent state of joy. Which should inspire us. Well, this is possible. I can actually be permanently joyful. I don't have to have all these ups and these downs, and it's a process, to get to that high state. It's a process of mind training. They didn't get there just like that. They did a lot of practices, a lot of mind training to get there. Usually many hours of meditation if they're Eastern. He's giving us another way, saying, it's not really that practical for you to spend hours and hours in meditation. I know that. So I'm going to give you short meditations, 15, 20 minutes, twice a day. And I'm going to give you breath breaks. I give you these short practice periods, practice the lesson. So you might, if you do it diligently, you might practice for an hour a day of your 24 hours. But that's enough. With this kind of, with the razor sharp nature of his teaching, if you do that consistently, you will start to awaken. because he's teaching the truth, and you can't not, if you keep practicing, you can't not ignore it. It's like, okay, the truth is just being confirmed over and over and over again in your mind. Okay, so any other thoughts or comments on number one? That was a it's a good thing it's only 3 paragraphs, because
Yeah, it was
that
a
was
long one.
27 minutes for that paragraph.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, but it's
Yeah.
profound stuff. I mean, what he's
Oh, yeah,
saying
yeah,
here,
yeah. It's very clear.
this is possibly the most difficult thing, Elaine, to do. What he's
Mm.
talking about here in this paragraph. It's what people on a spiritual path find the hardest to do, to let go of the things that they value in this world.
Yes, I understand that.
Because it seems to be good. The ego's told you it's good, it's valuable, it's worth striving for. And when you let it go, then you really deconstruct the separate self. Then you're saying, well, actually, it's not. So then what does the separate self have to live for then? Do you see?
Yeah.
What does the separate self then have to live for? Well, the answer is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why you said it would be depressing. But it won't be depressing, because actually then you're not in your separate self anymore. The separate self goes, and what's left is your true self, which is just pure formless awareness of perfect love. Pure
Where you
being.
can
That's
enjoy
what
the
you live
happy
for.
dream. Well, like, for example, Sally's pretty much an awakened soul, and she's met a lovely gentleman that she's in a holy relationship and looks very happy. I saw them on a nice little hammock, actually, and it was so she's living the happy dream, but I assume she's not going to be attached to this gentleman.
Well, that's the question. Yeah. I mean, there's always.
They look very happy. It's nice to see, but what would that be, though? Is that an illusion? Watching the two of them, obviously in this holy loving relationship.
Everything in this world is illusory, right? So all form is illusory. There are really no people. That's all illusory. So a apparent relationship between two people is illusory, because there aren't two people. There are no
But
people. That's the teaching.
But they look happy. So
yes, okay. So what's real then in that is that there's an underlying happiness and a love, unconditional love and happiness and joy, and these things coming through in their experience, which they're sharing.
Yeah.
They're experiencing that happiness and that joy, and that is real and that is true.
Yeah, right.
Because it's coming from their true awareness. So the holy relationship, well, yes, you can experience the love and the peace and the joy.
Well, they're two probably awakened souls, so that's how they can class it as a holy relationship, because they're both on the same path.
Yeah, holy.
Oh, no problem, Dave. No problem. No problem.
A holy relationship would need to be that.
Yeah, yeah.
To be truly holy, it's like both people on the same wavelength, understanding this non-dual teaching. They understand that they're not really bodies, they're both free, they're spirit, and they hang out together in spirit without any of the ego agendas. It's like, well, we can just kind of be together as one. There's no separation anymore between us, and we enjoy hanging out together in this love
relationship, or whatever. Yeah,
loving awareness. That's what.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got.
I can't really love you because there is no you. There's no separate self to love. So it goes way beyond the special relationship and romantic love. It's I am you. It's captured well in the phrase namaste. I see you.
Yeah.
The true self in me acknowledges and honors the same self in you. I see you. I acknowledge you. We are one. We're the same self. Okay. So now we stay in that unconditionally loving awareness. That's what it is. There's no separation. Just, yeah, we hang out together. And
Right.
that would feel pretty good. No doubt.
Well,
Because
yeah, they look
you're
happy.
experiencing pure formless awareness of perfect love in your dream. It's coming through and you're experiencing it in the relationship. And that's the only purpose of the relationship, is to help you experience that and awaken fully to the truth that actually you're both that same awareness. You always have been, you always will be. There is no separate self. There's really no Sally or no Mark. We're just one awareness. Masquerading temporarily as two. We seem to have two bodies, and team seems to have two identities in the worldly terms. But actually, the truth is we're not. We're one. And that that would be blissful, because you're in
Yeah, it's lovely.
your formless awareness. So you recognize the form isn't real, but the essence, the substance of it is real. Because the substance, the essence of it is love. And you're experiencing that directly in and through the relationship. But without attachment to the form. So if that person goes away, the body, the form, which at some point they will, because they'll either split up or one of them will die. It's inevitable. Then it doesn't matter, because they were never a person in the first place. They were just pure formless awareness of perfect love. And now they've gone back to that original state. They just don't have a body. So nothing's been lost. Like, I remain one with them, whether they're here in a body or they're not. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And that's our task, to learn in this world, is to learn to live in that way. All right, shall we move on then to number 2, finally?
Yeah.
54 minutes later. So lead not your little life in solitude. I think read this one in the original and the alternative. There's a bit of translation to do.
What, line by line?
Yeah, I think so.
Lead not your little life in solitude, with one illusion as your only friend. I choose not to lead my little life in solitude, with even one illusion as my only friend. This is no friendship worthy of God's Son, nor one with which he could remain content. This friendship is not worthy of perfect love's extension, nor one with which I can remain content. Yet God has given him a better friend, in whom all power in earth and heaven rests. Yet pure formless awareness of perfect love has given me a better friend, in whom all power on earth in the state of pure formless awareness rests. The illusion that you think is friend obscures his grace and majesty from you, and keeps his friendship and forgiveness from your welcoming embrace. The one illusion that I think is my friend obscures its grace and magnificence from me, and keeps its friendship and the release it offers me from my welcoming embrace. Without him, you are friendless. I do not seek another friend to take its place. Oh, sorry. Without it, I'm
friendless.
Yeah, I've jumped the gun there. Without him, you are. Yeah. Seek not another friend to take his place. I do not seek another friend to take its place. There is no other friend. And the same. What God appointed has no substitute, for what illusion can replace the truth? What pure formless awareness of perfect love appointed as my friend has no substitute, for what illusion can replace the truth?
Hmm. So thoughts on that? What's he saying there?
Well, it's saying you don't need to lead your life in solitude with even one illusion as your only friend. So, not really sure, really. So what, having one little human friend here instead of the
No,
pure friend?
he's not talking about people. He's talking about any kind of illusion, even one illusion. So what do I value in this world? Maybe it's a special relationship. Maybe it's an activity. Maybe it's a substance, food, drink, drugs, whatever. There's many things we can value in this world. He's saying, even one of these means that we're alone. We live a life of solitude. We cut ourselves off from our source. And then this illusion becomes my only friend. I rely on this illusion for comfort, for companionship, for help, for support. And of course, it's going to disappoint me. It can't bring me all those things because it's illusory.
Well, like many people, like a friend of mine, she's just lost her husband and her mother, which is said the only thing that keeps her going is her little dog. So that's obviously an example. Is that
Yeah,
right?
but then a dog will die.
Well, hopefully they'll go
And then
together.
what? You see, but then the dog's going to die. So then what? You see, she hasn't really learned her lesson, has she?
No, she's
What
not
keeps me
happy.
going is my little dog. Okay, but the dog is in the same order. It's also perishable. The dog could die any day. And then what? Then you're going to be even more devastated. Because you're still attaching value to form and you're making it real. The only way out of it is to say, none of it's true, none of it's real. And what I have, my only friend, is this deeper awareness. The remembrance of perfect love is my true friend. It's my guide, it's my counselor, it's my friend, it's my companion in times of trouble and need. It's my friend in times when I'm joyous, because it can help me celebrate and be joyful. So, let me give everything to this. Withdraw any friendship from any illusion that I still cherish, and give everything to the remembrance of perfect love that is your one true friend in this world. Because it's going to guide you home faithfully to where you're truly at home, to your Father's house, where you truly want to be. And it knows that, and it never forgets that. So although you might have other ideas, what does a true friend do? A true friend doesn't necessarily, if you go insane, a true friend won't agree with you. A true friend will say, no, actually, that's actually not what you want, and remind you of who you truly are and what you really want. That's what a true friend does with character. And your ego won't like that, but actually a true friend, is looking out for you, and they have your best interests at heart. So that's what he's saying. Seek no other friend, because there is no other. This friend will take you back to a place of grace and magnificence. Total release from all limitation, lack, loss, suffering, and death. And there is no other friend. The other friends that the ego has made are illusory. They are illusory substitutions for the one friend of the Holy Spirit. A pure form of surrounded with perfect love appointed. My friend has no substitute. Okay, and he couldn't be clearer, right? There's no substitute for it. So don't try and substitute for it, because there is none. It's not possible for illusions to replace the truth. They can only deny it. Okay, so any other thoughts on number 2?
Oh, that's very clear. Thank you.
There is no other friend. So this is the one thing we can rely on, right? Our true self and the Holy Spirit, the remembrance of perfect love that our true self remembers. It's the one thing that will never let us down. It's the one thing that will always go with us wherever we go. It's the one thing that can't fade away and die. It's the one thing that's always helpful, always kind, always there for us, no matter what, and it can't ever go away. Unlike any friends that the ego's made, it can never fade and die. It's always there. We can obscure it in our awareness, but that doesn't mean it's not there. It's still there. It's just been obscured. And who wouldn't want a friend like that? Oh, wow. Here's John.
Oh, that's good.
Arriving at the tail end. Well, maybe we do a bit more. So, happy with number 2?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, that's very clear. Very well, thorough.
How are you, John?
Yeah, good. Thanks, John. Hi, Elaine.
Hi. Hi, John. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. We've got a quite a short section today, so we're on paragraph 3, but it's the last paragraph, so.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
You came just in time, but if you want to chat about some of the questions or something that you often have, then happy to do that once we finish this. So if you want to read number 3 for us in the original and the alternative. Just to summarize, Elaine, maybe just give John a summary in a minute of what the first 2 paragraphs are saying.
Yes, well, it's all about the various illusions that we have on this life that we have, and just only one illusion will keep you well away from your true self. And the examples, well, there's many examples. We might decide that we love some kind of a form, but that in itself will still keep us away from our true self. And well, it's a bit more in depth than that.
A good example was, you just mentioned your friend who's
yes,
her 2 people have died in close
2 special relationships.
2 special relationships have died, and she said the only thing that's keeping her going is her dog. Right, so you've got another special relationship with your dog, and of course your dog will die at some point, or you will die first, depending on how old she is. But normally we outlive animals, so it hasn't really solved the problem, has it?
No,
because she just put it off. So, well, I'll then attach to my dog, which is now alive, but it's not going to be alive forever. It's going to die, and then I'm going to have to face the grief again of the loss of this little dog, which I've then invested everything in. Well, the only thing that keeps me going is my little dog. Well, once your little dog gets run over, then what?
Yeah.
Now, some people might say, well, that's a bit depressing, but it's realistic. It's being actually, really honest with ourselves and going, well, you haven't really solved the problem if you just go to another illusion. So, well, that one didn't work, but I'll just, cycle and I'll attach to something else, because your mind is still going to suffer. He says here, one thing that you value can cause you to suffer. Anything in this world that I believe is good, valuable, and worth striving for can hurt me, and will do so, right? He's not saying may do so. He's saying will do so. It's inevitable. It's going to hurt you if you're attached to it, because it's not permanent. So it's going to fade away, and it's not going to be there. And if you were valuing it and attached to it, then you're going to suffer because you've now got attached to it and you think it should always be there. Not because it has the power to hurt, but because I've denied it. It's only an illusion and made it real. And then it is real to me. In fact, just read, John, maybe just read it's so short. There's 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
So just to catch you up, just read the alternative of each paragraph.
Yeah, okay. Anything in this world that I believe is good, valuable and worth striving for can hurt me and will do so. Not because it has the power to hurt, but because I have denied it is only an illusion and made it real. And then it is real to me. It is not nothing. And through its perceived reality, the whole world of sick illusions has entered my awareness. All my belief in sin, in the power of attack, in hurt and harm, in sacrifice and death, has then come to me. But no one can make one illusion real and still escape the rest. But who can choose to keep the ones that they prefer and find the safety that the truth alone can give? Who can believe illusions are all the same and still maintain that even one is best? So I'm just thinking here about, I mean, I think the dog isn't a good example, but even our love of nature can be.
No, exactly. We were talking about that.
Okay.
Well, Mother Nature, and isn't it wonderful? You go into nature and you see flowers blooming, and go into spring, and it seems to be wonderful for a while.
Yeah.
A month or two, and then it graduates into summer, and all of the okay, so summer's quite nice because there's all this life, and then it all starts dying in the autumn.
Yeah.
And
It
then
gets
it's
cold.
dead for half of the year.
Yeah.
Dying dead for half of the year, and then we look forward to the next. Oh well, spring's coming again, and then it's all going to be. It's like, is this really something you can rely on for any kind of permanent happiness, satisfaction? It's also shifting and changing. Then people, oh, winter's coming. Oh God, okay, so we gotta get it through winter. Look forward to spring. We look forward to spring. Spring's but it's now we have to look forward instead of just being present.
Yeah.
So one illusion valued splits your mind, and now you must believe in the power of illusion because you've given it power in your mind.
Yeah.
And he's saying, don't do it, because it's you hitting your head against a brick wall and you're hurting yourself. He's saying it will do so. I read the first one. Anything in this world that I believe is good, valuable and worth striving for, can hurt me
and will do so.
Will do so.
Yeah.
He's not saying may do so, will do so. If you value it, it will hurt you at some point because it's temporary, it's illusory, so it's not going to last. And then you'll suffer because you don't have it anymore.
Yeah. I can even start to see here how someone could read this and really think, well, sod it, it's not worth it. I may as well just get drunk and stay drunk.
Yeah.
wake me up when it's over.
But then at some point you've got to sober up, and then you suffer. So that's not a solution. The only way, he's saying the only way out of this crazy dream we've put ourselves into is to let it go. That's the only way.
Yeah.
You can't believe in the power of any of it.
Yeah.
Because one illusion that you give power makes all illusions powerful in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay? It's an all or nothing deal. One illusion, you're saying, well, that's real, then all illusions must be real because they're all in the same order of reality. If I value one image on the cave wall, to use Plato's cave allegory, then all of them must be real. That's what he's saying here. Which a lot of people go, well, that's just way too full on for me, hardcore. But it's the truth.
But some people do love the illusion. I've seen
until
some
it turns
people.
around and bites them, until it hurts
I've seen
them.
people been married quite a few times. They just love to be in love. They love, as soon as one's gone, in comes another, and they just love the illusions.
But there's no permanent happiness there because they're still seeking. Why would they need to get married again if they were fully satisfied? They're seeking in the other person what they think they're missing.
But they don't seem to be too phased, like some people go into deep depression. They quickly get over their last one and into the next.
Yeah, because the ego says, oh, well, that one didn't work. Let's find another illusion. Off we go again. And, then they believe it and off they go. If they really did some introspection, they might go, well, hang on, what's really going on here? What am I doing? Going from one to another, is it actually working? No, actually, honestly, it's not working. So maybe I should stop the whole madness, stop seeking outside of myself what I'll never find outside of myself, and look somewhere else, look within. Then that would be the beginning of a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
But as long as you value one illusion, you're still in this illusion that something in the world will fix it. Something in the world is going to make you happy, is going to fix whatever problem you perceive, and that's actually going to work. So that's magic. I'm saying magic will never work because it's unreal. Okay?
Yeah, so number 2. So I choose not to lead my life.
So very simple, but it's very profound. Just one more point. This is possibly the hardest thing about this entire course to do, is to let go of what you believe is good and valuable and worth striving for. It's what makes this course difficult for more people than anything else, I think. Because it's easy to let go of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want pain and suffering and sickness and death but there's apparently good stuff that the ego offers you.
Right.
And
I mean, you could
let go of that too.
You could include attachment to children in that.
All of it, special relationships, all of it,
Yeah.
the whole thing, the whole construct has got to go. So this undoes every illusion that the ego has made and cherishes, which means that it undoes the entire world. It's like, well, yeah, that's the point. You're going to free your mind from this entire matrix because there are no children and there are no people. That's the point. This is all illusion. We're living in a dream world. None of these characters are real. None of the images that you see on the screen of time and space are real. This is the whole teaching.
It is for the average person almost impossible to do, really, isn't it? Very difficult. Like there, for example, your son, can you put him?
He's not real. He's not ultimately real. Neither am I. We're just these two characters in a dream.
Yeah.
What's real is if we can experience unconditional love for each other, that's real. So that's what you should focus on. Okay, unconditional love, connection, oneness within the dream. But he could die tomorrow. I could die tomorrow. No, and one would then suffer greatly if you were attached, wouldn't you? You'd be like, oh my God, this special
yes.
person, the special
Yes.
character has died. It's a disaster, and all the trauma because you believe that the character is real, but the character is not real. No matter what the character looks like, and no matter what the ego, special relationships is invented for us.
It's instinctive, isn't it? You see a mother cat with her kittens, and same with humans. It's kind of really inbuilt into us to nurture and love that child unconditionally, no matter what. Not that that happens to everybody, but that's generally the idea.
Yeah, well, is it unconditional love? Is it like, well, a lot of people, they're not unconditionally loving their children. It's like, well, I love you if you do this, but if you if you don't do this, you're bad and you're naughty, then I don't. Then I punish you. Then so unconditional love is a very rare thing. It's not a common thing at all in this world. It denies the entire world. It's what transcends the world. It's the love that
But I
transcends the
have seen
entire
it
world.
in animals, though. Certainly mother cats with their kittens, they'll sacrifice their life just to save that kitten. Some of them, not all.
Yeah, you can see it's rare, but you can see examples of it in this world.
Yeah.
But it's a love that undoes the whole illusion. It's a love that undoes you. That's why people struggle to unconditionally love, because it undoes your self-concept.
Yeah.
So then who would I be if I unconditionally loved everyone and everything? Well, I would be no one. There's no self anymore. You see, no self-concept, no self-definition anymore. Who would I be? Well, I'd just be pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's what I'd be. With no limits, no boundaries, no conditions, just pure bliss. And the ego can't handle that. It says, no, you can't have that. You've got to have your illusions instead, and your little self-concept, which believes in the illusions. All right, so you want to read number 2, John?
So I choose not to lead my life in solitude, and even one illusion as my only friend. This friendship is not worthy of perfect love's extension, nor one with which I can remain content. Yet pure formless awareness of perfect love has given me a better friend, in whom all power on earth and in the state of pure formless awareness rests. One illusion that I think is my friend obscures its grace and magnificence from me, and keeps its friendship. Let me read that again, actually. The one illusion that I think is my friend obscures its grace and magnificence from me, and keeps its friendship and the release it offers me from my welcoming embrace. Without it, I am friendless. I do not seek another friend to take its place. There is no other friend. What pure formless awareness of perfect love appointed as my friend has no substitute. For what illusion can replace the truth?
Or what's he saying there?
Well, just from what we were saying, I'm just kind of wrestling with the idea of, if we take you and Gabriel, for example, or me and my daughter, or one of my daughters, they are an illusion, but at the same time, in this world, within the illusion, we are challenged to we have our own heroes' journeys, and we are challenged to live up to those roles or live out those roles in the illusion.
Well, what can you learn from it? That's really the question. You know, the relationship offers you huge opportunities for growth and learning if you see them correctly. Well, I've certainly learned more through Gabriel's life and experiences than I'd learned probably in the 42 years before that. It was a catalyst for huge learning, growth, awakening, and there's still a lesson to be learned. It was like, well, can you really love unconditionally? Can you let go of all of your own blocks to the awareness of love's presence and just love this being unconditionally, no matter what he says or does? That's the question.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy, but that's what we're here to learn. To love unconditionally, which requires that you've got to let go completely.
And if I'm getting it, the importance of letting go is what's in this text. But the idea of, I haven't seen the concept of loving unconditionally in it.
Well, so unconditional love comes when you let go completely. So Yeshua's saying, don't focus on unconditional love, focus on letting go completely. Because that will bring the experience, that will bring the awareness of unconditional love, pure formless awareness of perfect love into your awareness. The more you let go, the more that awareness arises. So that's the methodology of the whole course. He's saying, I can't teach you the meaning of love, because that's beyond what can be taught, but I can teach you how to let go of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is what the focus of the course is. Okay, well, let's look at those blocks. We have to become aware of the blocks first in order to let them go. If you're not even aware they're there, you don't even know they're a block, then how can you let them go? So you've got to be aware of them and then choose to let them go. And then love will come. So I know love will come because I've done this. I've done this process myself. If you let go of every illusion, then all that will be left is pure formless awareness of perfect love, i.e. unconditional love. There's no conditions to it. And that experience will then be your only experience. But while one illusion remains, then that state is denied. Unconditional love remains elusive because that illusion splits your mind, and now that whole thought system behind the illusion seems to be real to you. And that separates you from this pure formless awareness of perfect love.
I suppose that takes me to another issue in terms of, I mean, we're talking about parents and children. When we have a child who is disobedient, does something wrong in our minds, in our opinion, gets into drugs, gets into violence,
whatever.
Letting go is okay. So it's letting go of, what is it letting go of? Because it isn't just bowing down and saying, okay, well, you do what you want to do.
Well, it's letting go of your own judgment, your own condemnation, really. Because so many parents will condemn their child. How dare you? How can you do this? This is, and that's totally the wrong energy. I mean, I'll give you a good example of exactly that situation. So Byron Katie had a teenage daughter who was a bit of a mess because her mother had been a mess. So she, had not a great role model. Her mother was alcoholic and addicted to codeine, I think. So her mother comes back from this rehab place, and she's
And
had
the mother is Baron Katie, is it?
yeah, her mother's Byron Katie, yeah. So she's had this kind of awakening experience, and she's coming back into the, her old life. And of course, people don't know that she's had the awakening experience, and they're like, well, there's still all the fallout from her old, her old self. And so her daughter is going out every night and getting wasted on drugs and alcohol, and coming back at whatever time in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning. And Byron Katie, instead of going, oh, young lady, this is unacceptable, that you can't do this, I'm going to ground you, da 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 da. She just let it go, and all she did was she waited up for her daughter whenever she'd gone out on one of her benders, night after night. She just sat there and she made sure she was okay. And she didn't say anything. She didn't judge her. She didn't say, well, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your life? Da 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 da, lecturing, condemning. She didn't do any of that. She was just there for her. She was like, okay, I'm just going to be this unconditionally loving presence, making sure you're okay. Did you get home? Are you okay? And eventually her daughter came in one night and said, Mom, help me. I can't do this anymore. And then she could help her, because she wasn't lecturing her, condemning her, judging her. She was like, okay, I'm demonstrating what unconditional love is by these actions, repeatedly staying up, saying, it's okay, you do that, I'm not going to judge you, I'm just going to make sure you're okay. And she could only do that because she'd had this, deep realization of truth.
Just to push that one a bit, John.
That she could stay rooted in that.
Just to push that one a little bit. You could have, to completely let go, she wouldn't have stayed up. She'd have gone to bed.
Maybe, but what she did was unconditionally loving, you see. So she let go of her own judgments, her own opinions, her own self-concept, is going, well, my daughter shouldn't be doing this, and this is a reflection on me as a parent. She let go of all that stuff, and she just did what love would do. So unconditional love doesn't mean, well, I don't care at all. There's no love. It means that I've let go of all of my obstacles to love, and I just genuinely love the essence of that person.
I think that's the nuance of the kernel of it, isn't it? Let go of one's own judgments, and do what love would do.
And so you don't necessarily do nothing. She did what love called her to do, and that in the end is what brought her daughter back to sanity, and she was then able to help her. If she'd just gone, right, young lady, this is what you're going to do, her daughter would just gone, screw you, man. What, like, you've done all this, so who are you to tell me that I shouldn't, because I saw you doing it all. You're a hypocrite. It would have just been resistance, and she had to demonstrate unconditional love for it so consistently. For 3 weeks she did this so consistently.
I think I get it,
that her daughter would go, okay, like, I get that you really have changed.
I'm completely with it now. So let go of our own judgments and do what love would do.
Do what love would do. And that might look different in different situations, but in that situation it worked. What the Holy Spirit guided her to do was exactly what was needed to really help her daughter. Because remember, the thing is to be truly helpful. The prayer is not, well, I don't give a shit about anyone because they're all illusory. The prayer is, how can I be truly helpful to this being that's awakening, that wants to awaken fully to who they really are? How can I help that process? Because there's an atonement, one-man process that needs to be gone through by everyone who's seemingly human. So how can I help them with that? And that's being truly helpful. And that's unconditional love. And then the Holy Spirit guides us as to, well, how does that look in this situation? Because there's so many variations and different situations that can occur that there's no one size fits all. You can't say, oh, well, in this situation, do this. And in this, you have to be guided, as Byron Casey was in that instance. And it worked because of that. But she could only do it because she'd awoken herself, because she'd had this profound awakening experience. She could drop all of that stuff before, pre-enlightenment. There's no way she would have been able to do that, because all of her own judgments and so on would have come in, and that would have clouded it, and she wouldn't have been able to do that. It was only by letting go, because she'd been able to let go of her self-concept, that she could do that. Okay. So happy with that 1 and 2. So on to 3.
Yeah. Who dwells with shadows is alone indeed, and loneliness is not the will of God. Oh, hang on, we're doing the alternative. Who dwells with shadows is indeed alone, and loneliness is not possible in pure formless awareness of perfect love. If I realize its emptiness has left me bereft of true guidance, would I allow one shadow to usurp the position that pure formless awareness of perfect love appointed for my friend?
Let's say one limited belief, shall we? Shadows. One limiting belief.
Yeah. Would I allow one limiting belief to usurp the position that pure formless of perfect love appointed for my friend?
Maybe as my friend would be better.
Yes, yeah.
As my friend.
Appointed. Would I allow one limiting belief to usurp the position that pure formless awareness of perfect love appointed as my friend? Make no illusion, my friend, for if I do, it can only take the place of the remembrance of itself that pure formless awareness of perfect love has called my friend. Yes.
Okay, so I make no illusion. He's addressing us. Let's take that off. I make no illusions. I will make no illusions as of clear intention, for if I do, can only take the place. Make no illusion, right? I will make no illusions, for if I do, they will only take the place. Only take the place of the remembrance of itself, the pure formless awareness of perfect love is called my friend. Yeah, it's quite nice. So, place of him whom God has called your friend. So it's the remembrance of itself that is now my friend. Right? That memory of this deepest awareness, my own true awareness, is now my friend, my guide, my counselor, my helper, my support, my assistant, my advisor, in all circumstances in this world. So one thing that'll never let me down, because it's the memory of my own true self. It's the memory of what's eternal. That can never disappoint me and fade away and die. Okay?
Can I just read that one again? I will make no illusions, for if I do, they can only take the place of the remembrance of itself that pure formless awareness of perfect love has called my friend. So it's saying here that if I will not make illusions, because if I do, I will be replacing my friend, the remembrance of pure formless awareness, for the illusion.
Yeah, exactly. You blot out the memory of perfect love.
Yeah.
And now you have another friend. And
Yeah.
you have allegiance to something else, which is illusory and will disappoint you because it's not going to last. Only the memory, only pure formless awareness of perfect love is eternal. So the memory of it, remembrance of perfect love, which is the Holy Spirit, is the closest we come in this world to eternity. That memory of the eternal. You're saying that's your friend, because that's taking you home, that's taking you where you really want to go. And it's always got your best interests at heart, because it knows that your best interests are to be in heaven and not to be in this world. This world is not in your best interest, in the best interest of the ego, which is insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is this presence that is my only friend in truth. Yeah. It brings me gifts that are not of this world, and only it to which they have been given, and make sure that I receive them.
Does it make sense?
It
Only
brings,
it to
it brings me
which
gifts not of this world.
the original, only he to whom they have been given can make sure that you receive them. And only it to which they have been given can make sure that I receive them. So these gifts, love and peace and joy that are not of this world, have been given to the remembrance of perfect love. Because when I remember perfect love, then these gifts start to come. I start to experience these things.
Yeah.
You think of it as the memory of that transcendent state, which we once knew fully. We were once in that completely, and then we departed from it. But that memory remains in our mind. And it makes more sense. And so those gifts that the memory brings me are the full experience of love and peace and joy eternally. That's what it brings me. Because the memory will eventually lead me back to the whole state of it. Then it won't be a memory anymore. Then it'll be the complete state of awareness. The memory of perfect love returns me back to the state of perfect love eventually. Which is completely logical. Of course it would. If you remember it and you keep remembering it, it's gonna eventually bring you back to that state of mind where you completely in it. You're one with it. That's your awareness. So there's no mystery then. You see, the Holy Spirit is not a mystery. It's just a memory of that state which you departed, but is still there in your mind. And it's reminding you of that whole complete state all the time, even while you seem to be incomplete and separated from it in this world. Does that make sense?
It does.
So there's no great mystery to the Holy Spirit. It's just the memory of that state which you denied, but is still there in your mind. And it's just reminding you in every situation, in every instance that you experience in this world, of that truth, that true awareness is still there in your mind. You haven't ever left it. It hasn't really been denied. You can't really destroy it as you thought you could. So you can just accept it back into your mind, accept it back into your awareness. So simple, really. Okay, you thought you denied it, you thought you destroyed it, but you didn't. It's still there, so just let go of any resistance to it and accept it. It's still there. And then there's no sin, there's no guilt, because you never destroyed it. How can you be guilty for a crime you didn't commit? You see the logic of the Holy Spirit. You can't be guilty if you didn't do it. If it's still there, then you never sinned. You're not guilty for anything because it's still there. You just got to realize that. That's why sin and guilt are illusory. because they're punishing you for something that never happened. It's bizarre. You know, this is the crazy thought system of the ego. You know, you're punished forever for a sin you never committed, for a crime you never committed. What an insane entity. That's got to be. Okay, so where were we? Number 5, it brings me gifts that are not of this world.
It brings me gifts that are not of this world. Yeah, we've done that one. We're on number 6. It will place them in my mind when I make room for pure formless awareness of perfect love to enter my mind.
Yeah, he'll place them on your throne when you make room for him on his. We'll place them in my mind when I make room for pure formless awareness of perfect love. To enter my mind. So I have to invite it in.
Yeah.
It will bring them it will bring them into my awareness would be better. And I make room for pure formless awareness of perfect love. Into my awareness. Anyway, you make room for pure formless awareness. Or when I allow, maybe. When I allow pure formless awareness, perfect love to be my own awareness. That's what it really means. Okay, just read it from the top, John. Make sure you got the translations okay, and then you can summarize it briefly. John, are you still there?
Yeah, sorry, John, I missed that bit.
Yeah, so yeah, just read it from the top.
Okay.
That's it, and then summarize it.
Yeah. Who dwells with shadows is indeed alone. Loneliness is not possible in pure formless awareness of perfect love. If I realized its emptiness has left me bereft of true guidance, would I allow one limiting belief to usurp the position that pure formless awareness of perfect love appointed as my friend? I will make no illusions, or if I do, they can only take the place of remembrance of itself that pure formless awareness of perfect love has called my friend. And it is this presence that is my only friend in truth. It brings me gifts that are not of this world, and only it, to which they have been given, can make sure that I receive them. It will bring them into my awareness when I allow pure formless awareness of perfect love to be my own awareness.
So when I make room for this, I allow it into my awareness, I accept it, then we'll bring them into my, how about experience? We'll bring them into my experience. And I allow pure formless awareness of perfect love to be my own awareness. As a natural consequence of this pure formless awareness of perfect love, these gifts will come. Love, peace, joy, happiness. They come when I'm rooted in my true awareness, my own true awareness, inevitably. I don't have to seek them, they'll just be there. So what's he saying in this final paragraph?
It's saying, I think, that as long as we believe, as long as we put belief into our into the illusion, we will never meet with the true, with our true friend within, or with our true friend, who is beyond this, who is not of this world, but who will always be with us when we invite him in, or allow him to be with us.
Yeah, can never leave us in truth, even if we deny this. That remembrance, that memory will always be there.
Yeah.
Because once, before time was invented, we were in this state of pure formless awareness, of perfect love. We experienced it. So there's a memory, a distant memory, albeit, in our minds of that state of perfect oneness, which keeps haunting us in this world because we've tried to make this world reality and we failed. That memory is still there, calling us to awaken, out of our dream to the truth of who we really are. Okay, so any other thoughts, comments, or questions on that? Let's have a look at the very short summary, because it's a short, very short section, only 3 paragraphs.
Yeah. Believing in worldly illusions can harm me. I shouldn't isolate myself with such deceptions when the remembrance of perfect love offers genuine friendship and guidance. Embracing this truth brings invaluable gifts and clarity to my life. If I believe in even one illusion, I deny pure formless awareness of perfect love and its remembrance in my mind, which is my only real friend and guide. Only this presence will bring me the experience of lasting, unconditional love, peace and joy, which are the gifts of perfect love. Actually, Elaine will like this one. I'm just thinking of a story I heard today. A friend, somebody was telling me that she met this lady in the park, and the lady was in a wheelchair, and she had a dog with her, and she got chatting to this lady, and the lady explained that until very recently she couldn't get out the house, and the dog had been such a tremendous help to her, and it was a pretty highly trained dog, and I mean this dog could even dial 999 in case of emergencies.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I don't know how it did that, but there was some mechanism whereby the dog could do this, and it had just been it had made this somehow this dog had created a bridge through which this woman in the wheelchair could get out and about. It was
yeah, it's amazing, aren't they? Amazing, some of them.
Yeah,
They've got that in them, the spirit, the holy whatever. Yeah, there's something more than just the form. Yeah, lovely.
Oh, so that's a sign of the Holy Spirit in the world, and this dog is fulfilling its holy purpose. It's helping its owner to yeah, not just get out and about, but experience better quality of life, more love, more connection, and so every being has its journey in this world. And dog's got its journey. People have got their journey, and it interlocked. Where these journeys intersect, that's where life happens, relationships happen.
Well, I mean, for the lady in the wheelchair, the dog is still an illusion, isn't it? I mean, it's actually proved to be a great friend. Because if she starts believing in the dog, then
she'll get attached, and then she might suffer.
Well, she's
because we get attached to the form rather than seeing, well, really the dog is just the Holy Spirit in form.
So
what's coming to the dog is unconditional love, and it's taken the form of a dog temporarily. The form won't last, but the spirit will. The essence of the dog will always be with her, because it's her very own essence. It's her own self.
It's a holy relationship. Well, for the dog, I don't know about the lady.
Yeah, she would probably feel the love, but what happens with humans mostly is we get attached to the form.
Yeah.
So we feel the love, and then the ego hijacks that and makes it into special love. Says, I love this dog. This dog, my special dog, is so special to me. And then, if the dog dies, I've lost. You said earlier, and someone had lost their two close people in their life, two family members.
Yeah, Joyce. Yeah.
But look at the phraseology there. I've lost. Who's lost? Who's the self that's lost? That thinks it's lost something. You see, that's part of the self concept. That thinks loss is real. That thinks I can lose. So if you find anyone saying that, or yourself, rephrase it and say, no, I haven't lost anything. Because there is no I who can lose. The idea of a separate self that can lose is an illusion. Not true. So there's no I that can lose. There seemed to be a form that was here for a while, and like all forms, that form faded and died, which is what happens in the dream. But I haven't lost anything, because the essence of me, the pure formless awareness of perfect love, remains intact, remains undisturbed by any apparent sacrifice and loss on the level of form. Okay, so where are we? Nearly 10 o'clock. Shall we can do a meditation just to close this, if you like.
I'm happy with that, John. I do have one question from a previous section, which we could do either now or later,
Okay.
or another day. I've just put it on a list.
Well, I don't mind doing it after this. Still, well, for me anyway, relatively early. So should we do a sort of 10-15 minute med on this exact summary, and then Elaine, you'll probably want to go off, and John, if you want to ask that question.
Yeah, okay.
We can cover it then.
Yeah, okay, great.
All right. So let's go into a med, shall we? Okay, so just make yourself comfortable. into favorite meditation posture, sitting your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight, you cup your hands in your lap, you close your eyes. And you start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And you clench your sphincter muscle, you lock the energy in. All the energy up your spine into your heart center. Put one hand in your heart to connect in with your heart space. All the energy up into the crown of your head. You pause at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind. So just noticing thoughts, emotions, ways of body sensations going on, particularly anything feels unpleasant, difficult, challenging in any way. Breathe into it. Just remind yourself that I'm not a body. I'm free. I'm still as perfect love extends me. So only my own condemnation injures me, only my own letting go sets me free. And so right now I'm wanting to let it all go and just set myself free, blow it all out, the breeze of your breath, letting it go, going, gone. Lower stomach into the spine, skull last moving air out. And just rest. Deep peace and stillness. Sink into that. Breathe in and out through your nose. Observe the breath flowing into your nostrils and out of your nostrils. Moves down the stomach, rises. And the stomach falls. And this nice deep rhythm of the breath. And listen to this summary of today's section. What you're going to do is one hand on your heart, breathe in as I speak the words, and then when I'm quiet, you speak the words. Say them after me as affirmations of very profound truth contained in these words. And breathing in, full inhale through the nose, cleanse your sphincter muscle used to contract the flow of urine, or squeeze the last drops out. You lock the energy in. Breathe in, inhale into every pore, every cell, every muscle, your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light of the truth of who you are. Breathe in, remind yourself that believing in worldly illusions can only harm you. And as you exhale through your nose, just speak those words. Believing worldly illusions can only harm me. So I shouldn't isolate myself. So you breathe in again. Shouldn't isolate myself with such self-deceptions. And the remembrance of perfect love offers genuine friendship and guidance. So speak those words. Breathing in again, deep inhale breath. One hand in your heart center that helps you to connect with your heart. Breathe into your heart. Clench the sphincter muscle, lock the energy in, draw the energy up your spine. Breathing in again and say, embracing this truth brings invaluable gifts and clarity to my life. I believe in even one illusion finds nigh her formless awareness of perfect love. And its remembrance in my mind. Which is my only real friend and guide. And speak those words. Breathing in again. Inhale this presence of love, peace, and joy. To every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. So only this presence I'm experiencing right now will bring me the experience of lasting, unconditional love, peace, and joy. Only this presence will bring the experience of lasting, unconditional love, peace, and joy. Are the gifts of perfect love. So breathe these gifts in, experience them, embrace them. Embrace the love and the peace and the joy. And just experience this love and peace and joy, these gifts of God, of pure formless awareness. and surrender to this experience of love and peace and joy. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, just breathe, relax, be still, and sink inwards to the truth. The unconditional love, peace, and the joy that this inevitably brings with it. Are yours to experience right now. So just coming back in this deep connected state, to an awareness of the body and the breath, senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale, smile. Your mind, notice any thoughts, emotions, related body sensations going on. If there's anything that is at all negative, limiting, contracted, constricted, remind yourself that I am not a body. I am free. I am still as perfect love extends me. I am the essence of unconditional love. There's no condemnation in me. Only my own condemnation can injure me, but only my own letting go can set me free. And exhale on the truth of that. Let it all go. Imagine you blowing out dark black smoke. Letting it go. The breeze of your breath to nothingness it really is. Going, gone. From the stomach into the spine. And last remaining air out and just rest here. In this deep peace and stillness. A few moments, anchor the state in. The intention to stay connected to the state for the rest of the evening. On into tomorrow, so it's said, so it's done. And on the count of 3, open your eyes. Take a minute to look around, just ground yourself back into this world, this reality. Notice any object randomly, just select any object eyes happen to rest on. And notice this awareness that you experienced the last 17 minutes in meditation is still there. Whether you close or open your eyes, so you can close your eyes, notice the awareness is still there, open your eyes, notice that it's still there, and notice that it's the same awareness whatever you look at, so you can do it for another couple of objects, and notice that it's really the same experience, the same awareness, whether your eyes are closed or open. You can open or close them alternately as you choose, and notice this very peaceful awareness. Pure formless awareness, we call it a perfect love, is there always. And stay rooted in this awareness for the rest of the session. Carry that with you to bed. So that brings us to the end of this section, and second part of the session tonight. It has proved to be quite a long one, actually, even though it's only 3 paragraphs. We have done a thorough dive into this particular section. So yeah, John, any questions? You said you had a question about the text.
Yeah. Actually, first of all, John, I'll just say that was only 3 paragraphs, but I found it tremendously insightful.
Yeah, very insightful. Yeah. Just shows you. I mean, it's only 3 paragraphs, but three powerful paragraphs.
Yeah.
Which is why we spent 2 hours on it.
Yeah, and what I particularly took from it was this notion of letting go of my own judgments, and asking what love would do in this situation. I think
Yeah.
that kind of parent-child relationship is it's such a difficult one to kind of to navigate, and actually I had an instance yesterday. It's a different scenario, but we did this concert, and
Yeah, how did that go?
yeah, no, it went very well. But I did have a bit of an incident in it, in the sense of I've mentioned this guy before that sits next to me, and
Yeah.
There's some sort of competitive element going on, and and there was this passage where we have a bit of a solo. We do have a kind of an exposed solo, and I wasn't sure I was going to get it, but I did actually, and we we got to the end of the piece, and I turned around to him. I said, "Well, that went all right, Dave." He said, "Yeah, it did. Apart from that bar where you lost the syncopation." It was just like he had to throw something in, you know.
Yeah. He couldn't recognize that you'd done well.
Yeah, and it just, and I thought, okay, let it go, John, let it go, let it go, let it go. And I went back, and I went back to the message for, the message for the day, which was, "It's only my gratitude I seek."
Only my gratitude I earn.
That I earn.
Yeah.
And it gave me immediate comfort.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask the question, what would love do in this situation? Because I just wonder if love would have found some correct words.
Yeah, maybe it would have inspired you to say something. I mean, someone like Yeshua, he was brilliant with his words. So he'd come up with just the right saying at the right time, and that's all now recorded for eternity. Well, maybe not eternity, but for as long as we have words, and his words have gone down in history, because he was just he was able to find exactly the right words for the right occasion. I guess he was inspired. What would love do? Okay, well, it would say these words. Those words where you said, let he who's never sinned cast the first stone. It was brilliant.
Absolutely.
That was what love would do in the situation. He had to say something. Because he couldn't do nothing. He had to do something, and the Holy Spirit guided him and said, "Right, that's this is what you're going to say."
Yeah. And I felt as though, there was, if I could have found the right words, there is something to say, but it needs to be said from a place of not coming from hurt or anger or.
Yeah. So I mean, some humor might have been good, so to make light of it.
Yeah.
A witty, like your waitress friend at the Dorchester Hotel or wherever.
Where yeah.
Doncaster.
Yeah.
She would have probably had a quick retort.
Yes, she would.
She would have gone, right, because some people just have a knack, don't they? They know.
Yeah.
They're just able to come up with something witty that would kind of make him. The Holy Spirit would say, you're not going to defend or attack, but maybe through humor, you could just make him feel a bit silly.
Yeah.
About it, that he maybe went, oh, sorry, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. It was a bit mean, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the moment, it's not always easy to know, well, what would that perfect that perfect saying be, and but you know you let it go, which is good. You went, okay, well, I'll go to the lesson, I'll let it go.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good response.
Yeah.
Just
And
enlightened.
it does bring immediate comfort. Yeah.
What you could have said was, well, actually, what really mattered was that I was in tune with the Holy Spirit, something like that. That would have shut it. I mean, we were going, what? You see, I mean, that would have been a good sort of, you know,
Yeah.
it was like interrupted his pattern, and he wouldn't have known what to say to that.
Well,
Because then you're saying, well, actually, it didn't matter. You know, the fact that I seemingly missed one bar, you know, I was in tune with Holy Spirit, or you could have called it source, or I was in, you know, in flow, but in tune with the Holy Spirit would have been, you know, because you're saying you were out of tune, and actually you were in tune with something deeper, and that might have made him think a bit and gone, so what did he mean there exactly?
he would have certainly said that.
Yeah. So like, what do you mean? Okay, well then, you know, then there's some kind of a teaching that can come through that, and it just redirects it from, oh, I'm defending a little self, you know, based on performance, to going, well, actually, that didn't matter, because I was actually in tune with what did matter.
Yeah.
In the performance.
The Holy Spirit, because it'd be bulls before swine, but being in tune with,
I was in tune with the ultimate conductor. That would have been a good.
Yeah.
That would have made. Okay. What do you mean exactly? I made him think a bit and sort of shut him up, and given him a two perspectives, like actually.
Yeah.
That, you know, that stuff it doesn't matter, making light of it. What matters is, you know, are you connected to your source? Are you playing the song in this world that you're meant to play? And music's just a nice kind of analogy for that. So yeah, I mean, in hindsight, if it happened again, you could use that, but now it's too late.
Yeah. Well, it's something that comes up. Yeah, I mean, it's not the last time.
Yeah.
I know it's,
Yeah. So maybe next time I'll say, well,
yeah.
the only thing that mattered was I was in tune with the ultimate conductor. You go, okay, what do you say to that? You know, how do you respond? It's kind of a pattern interrupt, because you're not playing it on his level. You're not defending. He wants you to defend. Go, oh, well, actually, no, I didn't. I was in tune. That's what he wants. You just say, no, well, I just transcend that. Doesn't matter.
Yes,
Okay.
I think, yeah. Actually, my question was on it just I was just reading section 1 of chapter 26. The idea of sacrifice.
Okay, we'll bring that up. Let's see if we can find it for you. Chapter 26, section 1. I wonder if we actually did that translation. Any forms, one correction. There we go. Sacrifice of oneness.
Yeah, that's it.
Just moved, renamed, or deleted. Probably renamed it. Okay, we'll find it. So let's have a look. We're at today is number 6. So number 1 will be 5 days ago. 183 less 5 is 178. Should be here, I think, hopefully. Yeah, it's because I renamed it, so I didn't like it. Okay, so there we go. Transition, sacrifice of oneness, yeah? So which...
Yeah, it's just the first, it's just even the first 2 or 3 sentences, actually. It just revolves around this idea of sacrifice. I'll read the first 2 or 3 sentences and let me just see if I'll feed them back to you. In the I'll do the alternative. In the dynamics of attack, sacrifice is a key idea. It is the pivot upon which all compromise, all desperate attempts to strike a bargain, and all conflicts achieve a seeming balance. It is the symbol of the central theme that someone must lose. What I'm struggling with is the idea of I understand the context he's talking about in the sense of compromise. I mean, compromise is, as I understand the word compromise, is that everybody gives up a bit and nobody actually gets what they really want.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to talk about doing deals and
all conflicts. So I mean, what he's really talking about is compromising on the truth. Well, I can have my cake and eat it. I kind of be spiritual, but I don't want to go the whole way. So I'll just keep some illusions in there, and I'll try and somehow fudge that and try and make it at work. Yeah. Right. I mentioned that chap. Remember that chap I mentioned?
You did.
Yeah, was saying, well, actually, why can't I have both be true? That's exactly an attempt to compromise, a desperate attempt to strike a bargain. Oh, well, I can have the truth, but I can also have the illusions that I want.
Yeah,
and actually both are real. It's just that's what he's trying to do. And Yeshua's saying, well, you can't do that because actually they're at odds. The illusion and the truth will never reconcile. So you must choose. And he didn't want to choose, so he's trying to strike a bargain. A desperate attempt to strike a bargain. Okay, well, I'll be spiritual, but I'll do it in a way that I can still fulfill my need for body pleasure. So I'll find a spiritual path that allows that. And then I'll say, well, I'm actually, no, this is, great. I'm on a spiritual path and I'm awakening and all of this, when actually I'm not really. I'm just denying the truth. That's an example. And there's many, many such attempts. You think you can have one illusion that you value. Go, oh, no, that's okay. Well, it's just a little pleasure or something. That's okay. But actually it's an attachment and you don't really want to look at it and you don't want to let it go. And you think then you're going to awaken. That's another example. Someone must lose. Desperate attempts to strike a bargain. Sacrifice is at the core of all these ideas. This idea that someone must lose, which remember is the ego's fundamental thought system. Someone has to lose. In order to exist as a separate identity, God had to be destroyed. So the ego's identity is based on winning its identity at the expense of something else. God, love, pure formless awareness of perfect love, everyone called it, had to be done away with, denied. So That's why sacrifice is absolutely key to the ego's thought system. This is the basis on which it exists. Because of the sacrifice of oneness, we now exist as a separate self. That's what it's telling us. Which is why its world is based on the principle of sacrifice and scarcity and loss, and why that threads its way through the entire dream. You know, sacrifice and loss are never very far away in the ego's world.
That makes sense, John. The other thing I was wondering was whether it's worth adding a definition of the word justice to the glossary.
Yeah, well, we could do that. Is it not in there?
No, it isn't actually, because you know the end of chapter 25 is a lot about the justice of heaven.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting, actually.
Yeah, it was interesting. I remember. Okay, well, yeah, we could do that. Let's just bring that up. Where are we? And course 27th of the 2nd, that one. So this will be, where are we?
Is it in there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, glossary of terms. There we go. So we've got justice. Judgment. Okay. So needs to be fixed. Okay, so have you thought about how we define it?
Yeah. I mean, what I understand him to be saying is that justice is yeah, so justice is justice is the answer to a situation as provided by, as given by, as perceived and given by Holy Spirit, or
Justice is exactly what we're talking about. What would love do? That's justice.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's unconditional love. The decision, maybe the decisions and actions of moments of perfect love. Expressed. Maybe even simpler, maybe just unconditional love. Justice is unconditional love. Which can be expressed in decisions and actions. Decisions, actions, decisions and actions inspired moments of perfect love. Maybe even I could say justice is unconditional love that arises when we let go of our own misperceptions of our own judgments and condemnation. Absolutely. Of our own condemnatory thoughts. Because it was always a contrast. You're saying justice in the ego sense is condemning, isn't it?
Mm.
Justice
Well,
of the ego, someone's got to suffer. Someone will be punished for their sin. And that's the justice of the ego. The justice of the Holy Spirit turns that around and says, no, actually, there is no condemnation because there's no sin, there's no guilt. And so you can let it all go. And unconditional love arises instead. So that's true justice. And that can be expressed in decisions and actions inspired by the remembrance of perfect love. And so true justice, I mean, a great example from history was that phrase that Yeshua said, let he who has never sinned cast the first stone. That was justice, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Exactly. In that, because they were saying, how do you judge this woman? They wanted him to judge her by the ego standards and condemn her. And he administered true justice by saying, well, let he who has never sinned cast the first stone to remind everyone that, we're all human and we all make mistakes. He was really saying it's a mistake. You made a mistake. It's not a sin, it was a mistake. So he expressed, the justice of heaven in his words, and that saved her. She may well have been killed otherwise. So true justice would always be merciful because it's based on love. And be expressed in words, decisions, and actions inspired by the remembrance of perfect love. Happy with that?
I am actually, yes. Unconditional love that arises when we let go of our condemnatory thoughts, which can be expressed in words, decisions, and actions inspired by the remembrance of perfect love. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the element of, it's unconditional love, but it has an expressive function. It's expressed in words and actions. So instead of the condemnation and the crucifixion of the ego, it brings about a release.
Yeah.
And so it would lead, true justice would be kind and loving to everyone, because everyone deserves kindness and love, because they are pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's true justice, no matter what they've done and said. So there's a total forgiveness there, because that's their true reality, is that they are love, no matter what how they think they've forgotten that and how far they seem to have departed from it. I need to remember that. and not be confused by the ego. Oh, so anything else?
No, that's it, actually, John. Yeah.
Let's go on to another page now. I have to work that one out. Okay, yeah, thanks, John. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, John.
thanks for joining. And we'll see you soon, I hope. Join us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're doing, seems like Elaine favors the evening.
Yep.
And the evening helps me work in the day on other stuff that's more business oriented. So
Yeah.
we'll stick to
Yeah. No, that's good.
well, and if you join it, after 8, then you'll catch the text.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, you got
Well,
20.
you soon.
There's a 20 paragraph section coming up.
What, tomorrow?
Yeah.
So he does a very short one, and then it's like, right. Well, it was actually them. It wasn't Yeshua, because he just wrote it, and then they delineated,
Yeah.
decided how they're going to split it up and put it into sections. So there's 20 paragraphs tomorrow, isn't there?
There are.
Okay. Well, please join for that. A marathon. So
The laws of healing.
the laws of healing. Okay, should be interesting. As opposed to the laws of chaos, which we did a while ago. There was a monster as well, wasn't it? It was like 20. Oh,
Yeah.
so can you join tomorrow?
I think I can actually. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, join us. It'd be great. But we'll try and start the text at about 7. So start at 6. So by 7 we'll start. So join after 7.
Good. Okay, John.
Okay. All right. See you tomorrow. Thanks,
Yeah.
John.
Cheers, John.
Okay. Bye for now. Namaste.
Yeah. Namaste.
All right. So that's a wrap for today. Thank you to Elaine and John for joining. Great session. 3 paragraphs, but it took us a long time to really get to the bottom of that. Hope you enjoyed that, and to join us in the Zoom room soon. There's a link below, allow you to register for masterclass, join one of these sessions, and you can also join us on Telegram. So there's a link to subscribe to the Telegram group, send out some of the material that I included at the beginning of the session. And if you like the channel and you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to get more videos like this notified when I go live, and get access to that. So thank you, and I hope to connect with you on the inside soon. Namaste. Which means the truth in me, true self in me, acknowledges and honors that same true, unconditionally loving self in you. Peace.